Welcome to the PI Podcast, your destination for everything NFL, discussing the latest news and providing in-depth analysis of every NFL game. And now, here are your hosts, Ian and Tesh.
What's good?
What's up, guys? Welcome to the PI Podcast for our first ever pregame coverage for Week 1. Tim, I see you. Uno, we see you. Welcome, guys. This is kind of going to be like our kind of what you're going to be getting used to throughout the whole preseason or regular season.
Yeah, so we're going to be doing probably Sunday mornings, anywhere between 10 and 11 o'clock, going live on Sundays from now on, at least for the NFL season. Next week might not because I'll be out of town. He might do it. I don't know. We'll figure that out later. But this is what we're going to do every Sunday. Watching football, cheering for the Jags, cheering for the Falcons.
Yes, sir.
Repping the Pits.
Oh, it's going to be a fun week. Hopefully you guys are excited. We have so many games to get covered today. We're going to be going over each and every single game, getting you ready for these games before they happen. All our matchups that we're looking forward to see. Maybe even some fantasy stuff while we get to it. And then just which teams can win. And we're going to do our Week 1 game picks here too.
Yep. So drop down in the comments below your team. Rep your team now because you're not going to be able to change next week. Whoever you're repping, you're repping. We got the Jags over here and the Falcons over here.
All right, so I hope you guys are ready. We're starting off with the first game that's on the thing is Eagles and Lions. Ian, give me 3 players you're excited to see from the Eagles.
From the Eagles, Jordan Davis, man. I'm really excited to watch him. I'm really excited to watch Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown. Those are my top 3. I'm also kind of excited about Nakobe Dean because he fell so far. But Jordan Davis, I mean, he had a monster combine. And he looked good in preseason. So, and then obviously Jalen Hurts is supposed to have a really good year. And A.J. Brown, new team, and a pass-heavy offense. How do you not like A.J. Brown?
The Eagles' offense is looking so amazing right now. Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devonte Smith. The running backs are looking good. Miles Sanders, Kenneth Gainwell. And the defense, Ian's one of the players to look out for. Jordan Davis. I think he's going to be an absolute beast. He's a big boy down in the middle of the defensive line. And he's still got Fletcher Cox down there right next to him as well. So just that whole defense as well. They just got C.J. Gardner-Johnson from the Saints. So they're really going to put the Detroit Lions to the test. And any team they play this season, they have a defense that can be very good. And their offense can be explosive, especially with the addition of A.J. Brown.
You don't believe in Hurts, Tim? Jeez. I find it hard for him to fail in this offense, to be honest.
The Uno said 28-14 Eagles. Lions defense got a fight. I'm still sticking with Hutch getting Defensive Rookie of the Year.
I like those. I don't think either one of those are really hot takes. Right. Because Aiden Hutchinson's the favorite to win it. Kayvon Thibodeau is the second favorite. Trayvon Walker is the third. I can't remember who's after that, but I know the 3 edges were the top ones. But here's my thing with Defensive Player of the Year. I'm biased when I say this. Trayvon Walker, out of the 2 I named, the 2 that are ahead of him, Aiden Hutchinson and Kayvon Thibodeau, they don't have an edge rusher on the opposite side of them to help them. Trayvon Walker does and Josh Allen. So, granted, they'll double team Josh Allen, I think, and I think Trayvon Walker has a chance to put up some decent numbers. I'm not saying he's going to win Defensive Rookie of the Year, but to me it's odd that he's so far down when he's got a competent defensive line around him. And I'm not saying that the Detroit Lions and the Giants D-line's garbage, but to me, the Jaguars out of those three have the better defensive line. And like I said, I'm a little biased. But Josh Allen on the other side, he's a top 20 edge rusher in the NFL. The Lions don't have a top 20 edge rusher on the other side. Neither do the Giants. So that's a big part of what makes an edge rusher good is who's on the opposite side of it.
And as you can tell, Ian's excited for the Jaguars against the Commanders. For the Lions, though, Jared Goff, I think he's going to play well. We're also going to look out Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think he's going to have just as good a season as he did last year, and he's going to take another step forward. We won't see Jameson Williams, but hopefully soon we do get to see him in the coming weeks. And also DeAndre Swift's still there, so they have a running game that they can work with. They have receivers in DJ Chark, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and I think he can play well. Hawkinson as well, yeah. So the Lions, if you guys saw Hard Knocks, they got some fight to them. I mean, Jared Goff has been looking good, and all those other players too. So I really think Jared Goff has a chance to really elevate this Lions offense and can play well enough to win them games. And it's going to be their first test right here against the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, they have a very good defense. I think their defense is going to be top-notch this year. The Eagles made a lot of moves. They're my favorite to shock the NFC, possibly go 2 or 3 seed, because I think the first seed, no matter what the Rams did Thursday, they're still going to be one of my favorites to win in the NFC. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Green Bay Packers, they're always up there for favorites. So the Eagles, I don't think are going to beat any of them, but I do think the Eagles are going to be very good, very competitive football team. And I think their offense is going to play very well, which makes their defense better because they won't be on the field as long.
So Eagles-Lions today at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern. If you guys are Eagles or Lions fans, make sure you guys watch that game. I'm going to tell you guys one player to look out for both teams. For the Eagles, it is going to be Jalen Hurts. And just the way how the level of quarterback play that he plays at today is going to determine whether they win that game or not. And also the defensive help. And for the Lions, I'm going to go with Jared Goff.
I like both
the two quarterbacks, Jalen Hurts and Jared Goff. Jared Goff has to prove that he can play as well as he can with the Rams. Yes, Sean McVay's help in LA, but he's in Detroit. This kind of is his proven year too, because if he doesn't play well this year, they're going to be looking for another quarterback next year. Ian, who's winning today?
Eagles.
I'm going to go with the Eagles here too. I think they just have everything ready. Their defense is ready. Their offense is ready. Jalen Hurts is mobile quarterback, he's a scrambler, but he also can throw well. So I just got to go with the Eagles. So that is our picks for the Eagles-Lions game. Una said I think Dan Campbell's more likely to get in a fight than the players. Oh my god. Yeah, dude. Dan Campbell is something else. He is motivated and amped for every single game. Like he is off the charts. He's just very emotional for his team, and I like that.
We both have the Eagles winning that. I'm not sure what the score will be. I don't know if I even want to try to do scores. There's too many games.
There are so many games.
But Uno did say 28-17.
Okay.
Eagles. All right, but game 2, we've got the 49ers and the Bears. Players to look out for the 49ers. It's finally Trey Lance season, and I'm super excited to watch him. Super excited to watch Deebo Samuel, and obviously, how do you forget about Bosa? I'm excited to watch all three of them. George Kittle is, I think, not playing.
Yep, he's out.
So it's going to be Deebo, Trey Lance, and Bosa for me to look out for today.
Yeah, the 49ers are finally going to get a chance with their rookie quarterback. Hopefully, Trey Lance can play well and lead them to the playoff. That is their hope. I know that's Kyle Shanahan's the thing that's on his mind. Can our rookie lead us to the playoffs? Because we were at the NFC Championship game a year ago. Unfortunately, we didn't win, but we're putting in a new guy at starting quarterback. can he do the same thing? Can he lead us to the playoffs? Because we have a good enough team. The 49ers defense is still very good.
Yeah.
They have everybody still there mostly, except it's a couple of players, but they have so much depth at defensive line, defensive corners, safeties. I think that defense is going to continue what it did.
It said 49ers 28 to negative 50.
Oh my god. I think. Oh.
And yeah, Trey Lance was definitely my top player to watch all weekend long to me. Granted, I think Trey Lance is going to struggle a little bit. It's his first real complete NFL first season, so he didn't get a chance to get his rookie mistakes out of the way. Like Mac Jones, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson didn't get a full season either, but Trey Lance really didn't get enough time to develop. I mean, he got to develop in the background, so maybe he won't be mistake prone, but you can expect big plays. You're going to expect him to scramble a little bit to open plays up, which is something Jimmy Garoppolo couldn't do. So I'm excited to see how different the offense looks. Maybe they use more RPOs. Maybe they let him roll out a little bit. So Trey Lance is definitely the main focus of this game. Who are your players for the 49ers?
So Trey Lance, obviously, that's going to be just right off the back week one. How is he going to play? How's he going to do? He's actually getting a chance to start a full game. We're going to see how he plays. Another one is going to be Nick Bosa. Yeah. We know how dominant he can be. He needs to really set that edge against the Bears O-line, and I think he will. And
that O-line is easy to defend against, so Nick Bosa should eat.
Yeah, he should eat right now against the Bears O-line. And then last but not least, I think a notable guy to look out for is Brandon Ayuk. I think if Deebo Samuel isn't there, and if the Bears can cover Deebo Samuel, who's he going to go to? That's what I'm interested to see. If Trey Lance can't find Deebo, who's going to be the guy to step up? Is it going to be Brandon Ayuk? And that's why I have him as one of my notable players. Because Brandon Ayuk, I think he's a good enough receiver, but can he get open if Deebo Samuel isn't open? Well, we're going to have to see.
Uno said, rumors are the Rams were looking at Jimmy G at 49 to release him. And I think that's the big reason why they didn't, because there was some questions about Matthew Stafford's elbow. And in my opinion, Jimmy G on the Rams would be like a cheat code, basically, because they're very similar quarterbacks. Granted, Matthew Stafford's more of a gunslinger, Jimmy G's more of a safe option kind of guy, but you want a safe option kind of guy in that offense. That's why Jared Goff was somewhat successful in it, because he took the easy stuff. And that's, Matthew Stafford's just been very good in that offense because of Cooper Kupp. They have a connection that's top tier. I mean, it's like Peyton Manning and Demaryius Thomas, rest in peace, or Tom Brady, Julian Edelman, Peyton Manning, and Marvin Harrison. These top guys have a guy. And I'm not saying Matthew Stafford's up there with those names. I'm just saying a real quarterback that has a target that he really likes, they typically go off. I mean...
and then the 49ers run game, I think there's going to be They did release Trey Sermon, so they don't have their two backs that have anymore, but I think they got depth of running back anyways, so they're okay with getting rid of Trey Sermon. They still have Elijah Mitchell. I think he's going to do well. They're going to probably do some play actions, like Ian said, with Trey Lance. And I think the 49ers are going to be a dangerous team this year. Yeah. Now going over to the Chicago Bears, 3 players that need to step up today.
Number one, Justin Fields. And I don't think he necessarily has to step up. He's got a terrible team around him. And when you're picked in the first round and you're expected to be the franchise guy, I'm not expecting him to win a lot of football games. I'm expecting him to keep the Bears competitive. And that's going to be extremely hard, especially against 49ers. But just in general, Justin Fields, I want him to prove he can be the franchise guy. Similar to how I want Trevor Lawrence to do that this year, Zach Wilson, once he's healthy, to do that this year, and Trey Lance this year I want to see do that. And Mac Jones already kind of proved he could do it last year. But Justin Fields really needs to put the team on his back and prove, hey, you know what? I know the front office sucks. I know my teammates kind of suck, but I need to step up. And then my number 2 player is Darnell Mooney. They got rid of Allen Robinson, and they said, Darnell Mooney, you're our guy. establish that connection with Justin Fields, Darnell Mooney, and, prove you can do it. And then my third guy, I was going to say Roquan Smith because he's in that contract year. He's trying to prove he's betting on himself. But I'm going Justin Herbert's similar named, not brother, but Khalil Herbert. I think David Montgomery's the back, but I think Khalil Herbert needs to try to take it from him. And so I think he needs to make the most of his opportunities today. I think they need to get the run game moving because Justin Fields will get killed back there if they don't have a run game. And I think a good run game will help Justin Fields tremendously.
I think Justin Fields, it's his team, but they didn't do much to help him. He doesn't have many receiver help. Yeah, you could say he got Byron Pringle. He got Equanimous St. Brown. He has Darnell Mooney. But Justin Fields needed to really show he can run this offense as well as he needs to. And it doesn't help that he doesn't have an offensive line because they didn't draft one till late. What's up, Antonio? Yes, sir. We're live early. It's probably going to be our Alex Letterman. Yeah. Fields set up to fail. Yeah. This is probably going to be our time that we usually go live 10:30, 11-ish on Sundays. So this is going to be our new time for Sundays because we're going to be watching football all day. We're going to take you right near kickoff. But the Bears, Justin Fields needs to show that he's the main quarterback. And I think he can play well. As I've said plenty of times, I think he was the best quarterback in that draft class, and he needs to show why he was. Ian just said they got Alex Leatherwood, so that's going to help the line a little bit. But also using his legs. David Montgomery's there, Khalil Herbert's there. If he can get that run game going behind that line, if they can get good chunk plays, 4 or 5 yards even up on a run, that just sets up Justin Fields and offensive success. Because Darnell Mooney is a good enough receiver to be your number one. And I think those other receivers can be those slot receivers and going on drags, ins, outs, corners. I think you'll be able to just still be able to find them way easier.
I just dropped the kicks for Antonio.
Oh. And then the Bears defense. Roquan Smith, he was going to hold out, but then he decided to come back. I think Roquan Smith's a big factor of that defense right now. He's like the captain of that defense. Because if you don't have him, it's going to be tough to win games. And I think he's good enough to a level where he can make tackles. He's a good enough play caller. He's going to be calling plays for that defense. And I really want to see how well that defense plays against a rookie quarterback in Trey Lance. It's a second-year quarterback in Trey Lance. So if the Bears can get some sort of pass play, I think they have as good chance as any to kind of make the favor towards winning that game. And that's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to put Trey Lance in situations where he feels uncomfortable. He's not 100%. He's not 100% comfortable yet because he hasn't really played a full season. So the Bears can make him feel uncomfortable. Yeah.
That's one good thing that the Bears have going for them. Their first matchup is against a good team, but with a rookie quarterback. Well, not rookie, but you know what I mean. Second-year quarterback that didn't play in his first year. So that's something to definitely keep an eye out. That's a good game to watch. You've got 2 of the 2021 top picks. That quarterback dueling it out. It's going to be an awesome matchup.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the 49ers here. Yeah. I think their defense is too good. I think Trey Lance is going to play well in the offense, and if he doesn't, they have a run game to rely on. And I just don't think that Bears offensive line is great, and I don't think the Bears are going to be ready for all the weapons that the 49ers have.
Yeah, and their offense is special, the 49ers. When it's clicking, they have a lot of pieces. And they're not necessarily like household name pieces. They're just really good players. Like, they're good football players. You hear the term a lot. They're just football players. Yeah, they have some really good football players on their team. So the next game we're going to look at, the Steelers at Bengals. This one, I think, is going to be a little closer than people are thinking. Me personally, I have the Bengals winning this game, but I think there's a lot more to look at here because, one, it's a division game, and you got to think these teams, when they play, it's always good games. I mean, granted, the last couple of years with Big Ben declining, they haven't been as close, but I think Mitchell Trubisky is a very safe, solid option at quarterback. And I think their offense is going to click a little bit better than it did last year. In turn, I think their defense is going to play better because they won't be on the field quite as long. Go Falcons, Tyler said.
Yes, sir. Go Falcons. Looking at the Steelers, you wouldn't think that they would be contenders right now with their quarterback situation. And that's a big reason why a lot of people think that they won't be top of that division or contenders. It's gonna be interesting to see. They have that pass rush though. They have that defense. They still have Minka. They still have T.J. Watt. Could be sack leader again this year.
They picked up Miles Jack. Their secondary is good. They've got solid depth everywhere. Cameron Hayward. I mean, their defense is going to be a top defense in the league as long as their offense can produce a little bit.
And that's why the Steelers have a chance, because if Mitchell Trubisky plays well, and I'm expecting him to, he has the receivers around him in George Pickens, Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool. He also has Najee Harris, already a great back. He's just going to take the load off him if he needs to. I hope Najee can get inside that Bengals defensive line and really, really show why he was the first round pick, the first running back taken last year.
Tim said coaching matters too. Tomlin never had a losing season. That's another good point. Tomlin has made it work with some subpar quarterback play in the past couple of years and somehow found a way to tie a game to make them 500. Like, Tomlin's a great coach. So I don't expect anybody to really think the Steelers are a contender this year, but I think people need to soften up on the 3-14 season. Like, that's not happening. They're at least winning 7 or 8 games, and I think they'll win at least 9 to go over 500.
Yeah, the Steelers have a chance if the quarterback play is good, and then their defense plays like their defense has been playing. They have a good defense. They can beat almost anybody with their pass rush. Going over to the Bengals now.
Brand new offensive line. Year 3, Joe Burrow. You still have your entire wide receiver core. You just picked up a tight end. Damn, who'd they just pick up?
Tight end?
Hayden Hurst. No, they have Hayden Hurst. They didn't pick him up. I mean, they did, but earlier this season they have Hayden Hurst as he's my tight end.
Oh yeah, they have Hayden.
They have Joe Mixon. They have a decent running back group. Their defense is good, solid. I don't like that they kept Eli Apple, but I mean, Jesse Bates is still there. They drafted another safety in Daxton Hill. So, like, they have pieces literally everywhere. It just depends if they can match what they did last year.
Yeah, Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, that connection, we're going to see. Can they replicate what they did last year? It's obviously hard to replicate that amazing season they had last year, but can they be in the same range of what they did last year? I think they can. That connection is too good. But Joe Burrow just doesn't have Jamar Chase. He has T. Higgins as well, who was dominant last year. He also has Tyler Boyd still there. Joe Mixon's going to be that back that always gets touchdowns, always going to be eating in the ground game. And they're
throw the ball.
Yep. And can throw the ball. Joe Mixon can throw the ball as well if he needs to on trick plays. And then offensive line, like Ian said, it is a revamp. And we're going to see our first look against a very good pass rush and defensive line in the Steelers. Can they hold up against that? We're going to really see, and they're going to be put to the test today.
Hey, don't time people out on YouTube because you won't be able to chat for 5 minutes now. But yeah. Bengals, Steelers, it's going to be a matchup. I got the Bengals winning this one, though.
I've got the Bengals, too. There's two. I think they're just going to prove themselves as being not just a one-year fluke.
That's one thing I don't like about YouTube, though, that it doesn't. You can't undo it. That's the only thing I don't like about.
YouTube.
You can't unban, untime out somebody. It's stupid.
Oh, okay.
But all right, so we talked about who we think is going to win. Who are the notable players to watch for Pittsburgh?
First of all, it's Mitch Trubisky. If he needs to play well to be able to win games, and we're going to see it here. He needs to play sharp football. He needs to throw the ball accurately. He can't have too many mistakes. If he rolls out of the pocket, he has to throw it away, or if he needs to run, he'll run. But you can't throw those passes that are going to go right for the defender or these contested passes. He just can't have that. And then also for the Steelers, it's going to be Najee Harris. Najee Harris, you need him to be your dominant force this year. If the quarterback play isn't well, you're going to be able to have to be able to rely on him to be able to get those ground and pound yards and be able to get touchdowns for them even if they want a chance to succeed and run their offense as well. And last but not least, Minkah Fitzpatrick. Minkah Fitzpatrick is their star safety there. And he needs to play well against deep coverage against Jamar, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd. That's not an easy right receiver core to guard against. And he's got to prove that he can cover deep and be able to shut down these receivers if they go for some shots. Because I know Joe Burrow is going to take a shot at Jamar Chase.
Yeah. I've got pretty similar picks for my notable players to watch for the Steelers. Mitchell Trubisky goes without saying. He's got a rookie breathing down his neck for the starting job. So he's going to have to play well every time he's in. He can't make light of his opportunity. Not only that, obviously this Kenny Pickett's team in the future. So like Mitchell Trubisky has to show other teams that he can step in, be a bridge quarterback, because unfortunately that's what he's going to be probably. He's going to be a bridge quarterback, probably for the rest of his career, unless he just lights it up this year and the Steelers can trade him next year for a team that really needs it. Because you do have some older quarterbacks in the league that are eventually going to retire. I mean, Aaron Rodgers isn't far from retiring. Tom Brady. You've got, I was just thinking of like two other, Matthew Stafford, Matt Ryan. Like these guys are all getting older, and the next 3 years they might not be in the league anymore. So he really needs to show out. So I got Mitchell Trubisky. Again, Najee Harris. You're the featured back. They've got a very good running back room. He needs to lead it. He needs to show what he can do, which I think he will. Their offensive line is going to struggle, so he's going to have to really put in some effort to get some runs in. And then my third player, again, my Jacksonville bias, Myles Jack. I can't wait to watch him on this defense. I think he's going to be solid. I don't think he's going to be lights out, but I think he's going to be very good because he struggled when he's the Mike, and he's not the Mike anymore. So I think he'll play at a solid level for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then I'm going to throw one more guy in because I can. TJ Watt. I made a TikTok, a pretty bold statement. It's not really that bold. It's bold, but it's not that bold. I think TJ Watt this year breaks the sack record. I think he should have last year, but I think with a better offense this year, and I do think it will be better, I think TJ Watt will get more opportunities to get to the quarterback because the other teams will be throwing the ball more, and I think he'll hit 23 sacks this year. That's my prediction.
And on the Bengals side, some notable players that I have are Eli Apple. Let's start off. Notable players. They got him on a cheap deal. He was getting cooked in the Super Bowl. Cup, although it's not easy to cover the best receiver on anybody's team, especially Cooper Cup. But they did get him on cheap 1-year deal, 1-year proven deal. But the Steelers receivers are good. It's not like they're just regular receivers. These Steelers receivers are big jump ball guys. They can make contested catches at will. Eli Apple's going to have to cover one of them, and hopefully he doesn't get cooked.
That's a good
That's
point.
going to be a big thing to look at. Also, Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon's going to have to keep proving it year in and year out. He's been proven the last 2 years. He's their main back. He's going to rush the football well. He has to do it against the Steelers D-line front. That's going to be tough. He has to give Joe Burrow some breathing room, too. I mean, if you're only getting 1 or 2 yards of rush, that's not going to help any offense. And last but not least, I'm going to go with the Bengals D-line. Bengals D-line need as much pressure as they can. Yeah, Trey Hendrickson is good, but that D-line really needs to get pressure on Mr. Trubisky. And if they get pressure on Mr. Trubisky, that's going to force him into some turnovers. And that's what you need from the Bengals defense. You need turnovers. And that's how you're going to beat the Steelers. Turnovers left and right from Mitch Trubisky, causing fumbles from receivers, running backs. If that D-line Bengals plays amazing, then they're going to win that game.
Tim asked, should I start Pickens over Lockett? That's a tough one. I think Lockett's going to get way more opportunities than Pickens will.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I also don't think they're going to throw the ball. I don't think Geno Smith's going to make a lot of completions. So that's a tough one. I personally would probably keep Lockett in. But, I mean, to me, the floor and ceiling is just completely different. You have a floor up here and a ceiling up here for Tyler Lockett. You have a floor up here and a ceiling up here for George Pickens. So it depends. It's a high risk, high reward, or a medium risk, medium reward, low reward for Lockett.
Yeah, because Mr. Trubisky could be looking George Pickens way a lot, or Jesse Bates and some of the players in Cincinnati Bengals defense could be watching over him a little bit. But he is a rookie, so you don't know.
You don't know how many opportunities he's going to get.
Yeah. Then Tyler Lockett, he could get way more targets. He's probably already set to get more targets because him and DK Metcalf are the main shows of that offense receiver core.
So my players to watch for the Bengals, I've got 3. Number 1 for me is Daxton Hill, rookie drafted. He's competing for reps. Here's the thing. If he plays well this year, Jesse Bates will not get a major contract extension from the Bengals. It just wouldn't make sense for them to pay Jesse Bates if Daxton Hill does his job correctly. So I think Daxton Hill's going to get a lot of opportunities this year. I don't know if he'll get a lot today, but he'll get a lot of opportunities, and I think he's one that we need to watch. Number 2, Joseph Burrow. Joey Burrow. Joe Shiesty. Joe Burrow. Need to watch him because obviously he is the franchise guy. He is the definition of a franchise quarterback. I mean, he's got the swagger, he's got the ability, he's got the confidence, and it's not like overly confident or like rah look at me kind of confidence. It's I'm the guy. Like, why are we underdogs? We just made the Super Bowl. Like, that's a confident quarterback that I like to see. And then my 3rd, he went with the defensive line. I'm going with the offensive line. They've got a ton of nice pieces on their offensive line. It just depends on how they're going to work together. And I'm also curious, I've said this before, a good offensive line, what does that do for Joe Burrow? Obviously, it protects him, but sometimes the big plays came from a broken pass coverage. So does that hurt him a little bit because he won't be rolling out as much and like extending the play? Who knows? We're going to see that today because they're going to play against a great defense, and it's going to be a good offense and a good defense going against a great defense and a offense in the ceilings that we don't know what it's really going to be. Could be run heavy, could be pass heavy, could be a lot of play action. Who knows? We don't know yet. But give me the Bengals offensive line as something to look at for this game. And probably, to me, it's the most important thing to watch this whole game because you need to protect your guy. And they got a lot of slack for it last year because they went with Justin Jefferson over someone like Penny Sewell or was it Tristan Wirfs? It was one of the two. I think it was Jefferson. No, they went Jamar Chase.
Over the offensive line. Penny
Sewell, yeah. So, like, they got a lot of slack for that. But this year, they were like, give me the offensive lineman. They were slinging money out. They got Leo Collins. They got, who's the other guy? I got their depth chart pulled up right here. There's the right guard, Alex Kappa. I mean, they got a lot of offensive linemen. They released some of their tight ends, which they picked up Hayden Hurst. They lost C.J. Uzomah. They picked up Hayden Hurst. So we'll see how the blocking in the tight end room is. But like I said, I got the Bengals winning this. They're just too good of a football team.
Yeah, the Bengals should win this game. It could be closer than what most people are expecting. I bet it is going to be closer than what most people are expecting. It's a division game. The Steelers' D-line is so good. The Patriots is insane. It's going to be closer than saying I got the Bengals, though. Now we're going to be moving over to the Patriots and Dolphins.
Confident, not cocky. That's what I was looking for, too, yes. And yeah, Ice Cold Joe. And they were, everybody was mocking the Jamar Chase pick during preseason, but then week 1 he went off for like a 70-yard touchdown, and they were like, this was the right guy to get. And then Antonio said it's scorching heat in Arizona today. Can't wait to get back to Cali. Damn, I'm about to go to Arizona. I'll be going to Massachusetts this week, so I'm excited for some cooler temperature.
That's gonna be a hot place to be, Antonio, Arizona. But that's gonna be a good game to watch. We're about to get to that in a little bit, but that's gonna be a fun one.
Patriots, Dolphins. Man, I love this matchup every year because some of the best football games, in my opinion, have been Patriots versus Dolphins. The miracle where they did the pitch and then Gronkowski lost the play. Like, I always think of that when I think of the Patriots Dolphins. It's nowhere near the same anymore because the Dolphins, to me, are getting better while the Patriots are getting worse. So I've got the Dolphins actually winning this game. I'll just go ahead and spoil that for everybody. I've got the Dolphins winning because I think Tua, regardless, I don't think he's going to be great. But I think Tua is a serviceable quarterback, and their team's just too good. They have pieces literally everywhere.
The Dolphins are going to be good. They have their upgrades that they made this year. Tyreek Hill backs up with Jalen Waddle. Revamped running room. They still have Myles Gaskin, but they also added Raheem Mostert and Chase Edmonds.
They also got Michael Gallup.
Yeah, and they got
Cedric Wilson. Sorry,
Cedric Wilson. Yeah,
I knew
Cedric Wilson. He was a good slot receiver.
Yeah, their offense is going to look completely different. They still got Mike Gesicki. They picked up
Toronto.
Yeah. So, I mean, their offense and their defense was already pretty good. They had a lot of pieces on defense. It didn't look good on in game because their offense struggled so much. But really, they have a good defense as well, and they have a offensive-minded head coach that'll hopefully get the best out of Tua. So I have the Dolphins winning that.
Yeah, and on defense, the Dolphins, they have two good corners in Byron Jones, the jump king, and then they have Xavier Howard, who sometimes got cooked by Kyle Pitts last year. Just saying. But they still have Xavier Howard and Byron Jones, two solid corners, and then their D-line's pretty good. I'm trying to remember his name. I don't know. I can't remember it. But he's on the D line. But their linebackers are also good. Their corners, their safeties are playing well. Raekwon McMillan. What's the linebacker's name? Damn.
Spanish.
Real
quick, this podcast is sponsored by
SeatGeek. Oh wait, it's not technically not sponsored.
Well,
we're partnered with SeatGeek.
This is sponsored by SeatGeek. We're calling it that. Use code PIPodcast on your first purchase from SeatGeek to save $20.
Yep, off your first purchase with the code. So even if you're a long-time SeatGeek member, if you use PI Podcast, the first time you use PI Podcast, you're getting $20 off your order. So I would redeem that as quickly as possible. I mean, just me, but with football season starting and everything, yeah, that's going to be a perfect time to use it.
Yep. So who are your players to watch for the New England Patriots?
Mac Jones. Starting off, it's Mac Jones. He bulked up during the offseason, so he looks a little bulkier, looks a little stronger. I don't know how much that really plays. He might be able to throw the ball a little more. He might be able to run out of pocket a little more, but really, we don't know yet. But Mac Jones, if he's going to take a big leap in year 2, then he has to show he's more accurate with the football. He has to show that he can get the ball to receivers and spread it out, and he has a new weapon in Devonte Parker.
Yeah.
And that's going to help him tremendously because he didn't have receivers last year. But they still made the playoffs because of mastermind Bill Belichick and the way offensive line played. But the offensive line did get hurt. So Mac Jones may not have as much time as he did last year. So he's going to have to get the ball out quicker to be able to find his receivers and get scores and get field goals and whatnot. The second player I'm looking at is Christian Barmore on the defensive line. Christian Barmore needs a good year like last year or even better to help this Patriots defense that lost pieces as well. That Patriots defense is going to need some help from its D-line to be able to get pressure on these offensively heavily talented teams like the Dolphins with Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. If your Patriots can't get there, Tyreek Hill's going to torch that defense all the time, all game.
And if Tyreek Hill doesn't, Tua or
Jalen Waddle.
Yeah. So that's a very good point. Their pass rush has to be good.
And then the last thing I want to see is Devonte Parker. I want to see how well Devonte Parker plays. Is he going to be Mac Jones' true number one receiver, or is he going to be falling flat and get injured like he did the last few years? Because Devonte Parker can be a good number one receiver, if he's healthy. And I want to see that from Devonte Parker because other than that, the Patriots have the Kendrick Bourne, who's good, but he's not a number one receiver. He's a secondary receiver. So Devonte Parker really needs to step up his game. And I need to see that from him to help Mac Jones tremendous.
So my picks are actually the exact same. Mac Jones, obviously, he led his team to the playoffs last year. I think he has potential to be a serviceable quarterback for them. Christian Barmore, like you said, their defensive line has to get pressure on Tua. Because one, Tua's not very good under pressure, and two, they have so much speed that you give Tua 7 seconds in the pocket, somebody's torched somewhere. Whether it's Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle, one of them is torching somebody. And then number 3, Devonte Parker, going up against his former team. They didn't want to pay him or whatever their reason for trading him was. You don't trade inside the division, right? So the fact that they traded Devonte Parker inside the division, I'd have a huge chip on my shoulder if I was Devonte Parker, and I'd want to torch. I would want to put up 400 yards against the Dolphins if I was Devonte Parker. So that's my top pick for the Patriots is Devonte Parker. He needs to have a good year for the Patriots' sake.
And for the Dolphins, we're going to look at Tua. Tua needs to play well this season if the Dolphins are going to have a chance. He has the weapons. He has the running game. He has everything around him. And if he can't perform this year, he's gone. 100% he's gone. I don't know how well Tua can play. I don't think he's going to play perfect, but he can play well with all the receivers. Anybody can. If they have the same weapons Tua has, they can play well enough to win games. And that's what Tua needs to do. And then second of all, the running back room. I need to see him perform. They have the fastest running back, or one of the fastest players in the league, in Raheem Mostert, and he needs to be able to show that he can take over its back. Him and Myles Gaskin and Chase Edmonds need to be a trio running backs that will gas people, truck people. Raheem Mostert's more of an agile back, so definitely they're going to be speeding back past these defensive lines. And the Patriots' defensive line is decent. They have Matthew Judon, Christian Barmore, and more. And these running backs need to get inside runs, outside runs. They need to be able to get to the second level. And that's when their play action is going to work with Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, and if they do that, Tua will have a good game.
Yeah, it's going to be very easy for Tua. And last but not least, the defense. I'm just going to go ahead and say the defense. The defense needs to play well against Mac Jones. Mac Jones is second year. He's already played well as a rookie. He knows the game already, and he's ready to perform. So if you can same thing with Tua, if you can kind of disrupt Mac Jones and rid him a little bit, he's going to throw that pick or two. And that's where you're going to take your opportunities for Tua to get some points.
Yeah, I like everybody that you mentioned. Tua is obviously the number one guy that you have to hope does well for the Dolphins if you're a Dolphins fan. And if you're a Patriots fan, you hope your defensive line can disrupt Tua a little bit, because that's something that I think they're going to rely on is Tua to be able to have a clean pocket, or even, he's got legs, so he can run out a little bit and throw on the run a little bit. But so Tua is my number one guy to look at. Number 2 is the offensive line. Similar to what you said with the running backs, I need this offensive line to, 1, protect Tua, but 2, create running lanes for this stacked running back room. Like you said, they have one of the fastest running back rooms in the NFL. They have one of the fastest players in the NFL at wide receiver and at running back. So their offensive line needs to create a lot of opportunities. And then my third pick is going to be Jalen Waddle, because I think Tua is going to have a lot of attention. I think Jalen Waddle is going to be the guy that gets the most catches, the most targets, the most yards, if he catches the ball, if he can get open. So Jalen Waddle is my third room to look at, basically, or third guy to look at.
I'm going to go with the Dolphins as well. I think they're going to win this game against the Patriots. Moving on to the Browns and Panthers, Baker Mayfield's revenge game. The Browns don't have Deshaun Boy Watson, and and the Baker Mayfield's going to have a chance against this Browns team. But shouldn't be taken lightly because the Browns still have a good defense, and they still have that team around them. If Jacoby Brissett can use the running game to his advantage, it's going to be hard for the Panthers to win this game. Ian, three players from the Browns that you want to see are notable.
So Browns, I'm just going to go ahead and say Jacoby Brissett. He's always been kind of the bridge backup role, and he needs to prove he can lead this team because on paper they're one of the best rosters in the NFL, and you should be able to win at least 5 games in an 11-game stretch to keep this team somewhat in the playoffs. So Jacoby Brissett is something he's got to do good. He's got pieces around him. He's got a dominant running game he's going to have this year, even if Kareem Hunt doesn't play, which I haven't actually seen any news on that. So if anybody knows if Kareem Hunt's going to play, let us know. But Jacoby Brissett's number 1. Number 2, Amari Cooper. He's getting a fresh start, and like I said, Amari Cooper is a very good wide receiver, but he's hit or miss. He goes hot, he goes cold. He goes hot, he goes cold. So, he has to stay hot, at least until Deshaun Watson comes back. And then hopefully he can be even better once he's back. But I'm not a Browns fan, so I don't really hope Amari Cooper plays very well. But I actually hope Deshaun Watson tears an ACL. And I don't take injuries very lightly, but Deshaun Watson should not be playing in the National Football League.
Nope.
But anyway, my third is Nick Chubb. I hope he has a monster year. I hope he gets more touchdowns this year because he's very underrated, in my opinion, as a running back because he has such a stacked running back room that people always, when you're talking about your top 5 running backs, Nick Chubb's never in there. But if he was on a team where he was the only back, like Alvin Kamara, Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry, he would be regarded as one of the top 5.
I think he's the top 5.
Yeah, 100%. But because he's not in one of those kind of offenses, he's never regarded as a top 5 back, unfortunately. You see people take Christian McCaffrey over him, even though Christian McCaffrey hasn't played in the NFL for damn near 3 seasons, hardly. Saquon Barkley's normally rated above him, and he hasn't played in damn near 3 seasons. And he only had 1 good year. So Zeke is always rated above him. And, what has Zeke done? So it's just, I don't understand why Nick Chubb isn't regarded a little higher. So those are my 3. And also, I just seen somebody said Myles Garrett. I forgot about Myles Garrett. He's going to have a monster year. Similar to my TJ Watt take, if the Browns offense can produce a little bit and maybe take the lead late in games, Myles Garrett's going to have a lot of opportunities to sack the quarterback if they can get the lead. But if they're relying on the run game because they're down, if other teams are running the ball because they're up, Myles Garrett's not going to get an opportunity to get many sacks this year. So I still think he's going to get his 10 to 15. But if you're running the ball a lot because you're up by 20 touchdowns a game because the Browns are going to be very good, Myles Garrett's not going to have that great of a season.
Yeah, and some of the players that I think I'm going to go with one of the guys who said in Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby Brissett needs to play well. He, again, to a situation, kind of, because he has everything around him. He has a even more dominant run game, in my opinion, than the Dolphins. In Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, even if he doesn't play, they have a really stacked running back room. I think, don't they have Dante Foreman?
Yeah.
Yeah. The Browns have a really good running back room, and Jacoby Brissett gets that up in the running game. It's going to set up more play actions. It's going to set up more easier passes for Jacoby Brissett to complete and be able to complete more passes. And also, Brissett, he's been hit or miss throughout his whole career at being a back as well. Even in Indy, when they started him for a season, when Andrew Luck retired randomly, they had to start him. And he played hit or miss. Some games he'd play well enough to win games, but then he'd make a mistake. So we really need to see Jacoby Brissett not make mistakes. And with that offense, with Amari Cooper, with Donovan Peoples-Jones, and with that running game, he has everything to his advantage. And also, I'm going to say Jadeveon Clowney, look out for him on that other side of that edge with Myles Garrett. I always loved Clowney just as a player. But they brought him back because they like what they're seeing with Clowney and Garrett on that line. And Clowney and Garrett on that line is going to be very tough for opponents to stop. Clowney's been on decline a little bit the last few years. So Clowney needs to step up his game even more and be more of a help. Because if they double team Myles Garrett, he's going to be one-on-one situations, and he needs to be the dominant Clowney that he has been in the past. And then last but not least, for the Browns, what I need to see is Denzel Ward continue to be the all-pro that he is. And I need that Denzel Ward to be able to lock down these receivers that Panthers have, DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson. If he can do that, then it's going to be way easier for that defense to be able to play a run game with Christian McCaffrey out there. Be easier for them to cover other receivers that aren't DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson. I think... Yeah.
You said Devonte Foreman is a Panther.
Oh, Devonte Foreman might be a Panther.
Who's third back for the...
Jerome Ford.
Ford, that's what I was saying.
Jerome Ford. Yeah. Okay, but yeah, Jerome Ford. Yeah, that Browns running back room is really stacked, and they have depth to it. So it's gonna be all that combined: the defense, the pass rush, Jacoby Brissett, and the running game. If they're gonna do that, they can win this game very easily. And going now for the Panthers. Going out for the Panthers. Baker Mayfield is going to be someone to look at as well. New team, new fresh team. A revenge game for Baker Mayfield. Can he play well against his former team? Is he going to be able to use his weapons from DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson? He has one of the best running backs in the room when healthy in Christian McCaffrey. Use him to your advantage in the receiving game as well as the rushing game. And he has decent offensive line around him too. So Baker Mayfield should be able to eat against the Browns, and I think he will eat. Another guy at the Panthers I want to see is Derek Brown on the defensive line. Derek Brown was good last year, and the Panthers have very good pieces at defense. So I want to see Derek Brown being the more dominant force on the inside of that defensive line. I don't want to see him eat up the offensive line of the Browns and be able to pressure Jacoby Brissett so that he makes mistakes and makes him look like a backup quarterback. And that's how you win this game. And last but not least, I need to see a DJ Moore be DJ Moore. And I need to see him really elevate his game and be able to catch these deep passes, be able to just be an absolute freak with the football in his hand and be able to get open for Baker Mayfield so that he doesn't have to worry if his run game isn't working, Christian McCaffrey, or have to rely on Robbie Anderson, who can play well as well.
Yeah, so I got the Panthers winning this game for sure. My picks are pretty much the same. Baker Mayfield's obviously someone we got to watch. No argument there. I hopefully plays very well. I have a lot of confidence in him. Do you see that? That's what I just tweeted. Christian McCaffrey's another one that I want to see. I know he's kind of questionable in practice the other day, but I hope he plays well. If he does play, I don't think he's been ruled out. And then number 2 is DJ Moore. He just got that contract extension. He's going to have to prove he can play at a level that earns that money. So those are my 3 picks for the Panthers this year. Game number 2. We've already done like 5 games already. Then we've got the Colts and Texans. So Colts, I think, are going to win this game fairly easy. I don't think the Texans are going to be very competitive this year. I think the Colts, in my opinion, are the favorite to win the AFC South. And really, the Titans, to me, are going to downgrade this year. 3 straight 1K seasons, he's been proving it. Is that... Oh, DJ Moore, but with a new quarterback. Like I said, we were watching Matt Stafford didn't even throw the ball to Allen Robinson, so like that connection's got to be there between Baker and DJ or Baker and Robbie Anderson, which I think it will be. I think Baker Mayfield's going to be very solid this year for the Panthers. Colts, my players to watch. Matt Ryan, obviously. I think if he can get anywhere between 3,500 and 4,000 yards, they will 100% win the AFC South. I would like to see Jonathan Taylor do exactly what he did last year. I have no doubt in my mind he'll be able to. And then my third pick is Michael Pittman. Actually, no, I'm going to change my third pick. It's Alec Pierce because I think he's got a chance to be extremely good with Matt Ryan. They've already shown the connection in preseason. And Michael Pittman, to me, might go down to wide receiver 2, and Alec Pierce has a chance to really make himself a name for himself in Indianapolis. Those are my 3. I did Matt Ryan, Jonathan Taylor, and Alec Pierce.
I'm going to go with Matt Ryan as my first one. Matt Ryan, first time in a new stadium, new team, Indianapolis Colts. 14 years as a Falcon, first time seeing a new fresh change. But this year, he has the offensive line around him. He has the defense to help him out as well. So I think Matt Ryan is going to excel, and he has to excel because this team is considered a playoff team, borderline Super Bowl team. And he's really going to have to show that his receivers, he can work well with them, and he's an all-pro running back in Jonathan Taylor. So Matt Ryan needs to step up his level, and I think he is. That's what my picks to look forward to for the Colts is Matt Ryan. I think he's going to play outstanding. On defense, I think Shaquille Leonard's out today. I think he is. On defense, I need to see DeForest Buckner, another guy I want to look at on the Colts. DeForest Buckner is an absolute beast on the defensive line, and he needs to eat today because if Shaquille Leonard's out...
Oh, they got Ngakwe, too.
Yeah, and they got Ngakwe. Yeah, because he's going to... DeForest Buckner's going to have help with Ngakwe, and that's going to leave room for Buckner to dominate on the interior line and be able to stop the run, be able to force tackles for losses, be able to get to the pressure with the quarterback. And I believe he can do that. And with Leonard out, that defensive line is going to need to be able to step up a little bit.
I forgot how good their defensive line was. Yannick Ngakwe, Kwity Paye, DeForest Buckner. They just re-signed Quentin Nelson to a pretty big deal, the largest guard contract in NFL history, which is well deserving. He's the best offensive lineman in football right now, in my opinion. I think he's better than the 49ers. Every time I go to talk about somebody, I forget their name.
Last but not least on the Colts, I'm going to go with Nyheim Hines. He is backup to Jonathan Taylor, but he is used in the receiving game as well. He needs to be able to help Matt Ryan if Michael Pittman isn't open, or if his other receivers aren't open. Molly Cox is open. I'm just going to be our receiving back before Matt Ryan check down on third downs and even first downs in the slot. If they put Nyheim Hines there, he's going to be able to do some angle routes, going to be able to do some short routes for Matt Ryan to find his check down, and he could have some receiving yards.
Yeah. Who do you got winning though?
I got Colts winning this game easily. 3 players in the Texans. Notable players.
Yeah. Oh, okay, I get too. Okay, so I got Derek Stingley.
Okay.
He's gonna have to have a good game against the Colts wide receiver group. Isn't that great? It's underrated in my opinion because I think there's some good solid pieces on there. But he's gonna be matched up with either Michael Pittman or Alec Pierce in my opinion. So he's got to be able to, if he can lock those guys down, he'll be a fine football player in the NFL because those guys are above average to me. So then number 2, Dameon Pierce. I've got him in fantasy. He's their lead back. I think he's going to be he's kind of under the radar kind of pick for them. But I think he's going to be very solid. He played well in the preseason. He's going to be the featured back. So I really like him. And then number 3, Davis Mills. And I'll be honest with you, those are the only 2 players I can name.
Oh my God.
No, they did pick up Dare Ogunbowale from the Jags. They also they picked up AJ Cann from the Jags as well. So I can name a couple more players than just that's.
Oh yeah,
that's probably the top 5. I don't think I can name any more than that.
Christian Kirksey.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't.
But Ian's right. I'm probably going to go with most of his.
I almost said Brandon Cooks because, I mean, he's a 1,000-yard receiver every year. But I think Davis Mills needs to step up and make sure it keeps his team. He's a 6th-round pick. They have no ties to him, you know?
That's one of my picks to look out for Texans, Davis Mills. He needs to play well, and he's kind of what he saw from last season. If he can play kind of like that, but better, if he can get his receiver the ball faster, he's going to have that defensive help a little bit with Derek. Davis Mills really needs to capitalize and prove that he wants to be a star in this league because he's the rookie quarterback from last year, but no one's really expecting him to kind of be the franchise quarterback. I think a lot of Texans fans are kind of hoping that they get a really high pick next year for Bryce Young or something like that.
Yeah, that's another thing about why Davis Mills needs to play very well this year because they will have a top pick if he doesn't. And they're probably going to have a top pick even if he does play well because their team's just not very good. Similar to what I've had to deal with the Jaguars for all this year. You get these number 1 overall picks because your team's just not very good. And then eventually you're like, damn, we got all this talent because we've had these number 1 picks. What's wrong now? And at the moment, the quarterback situation for them, since Deshaun Watson started sitting, has just not been very good. And then before that, it wasn't Deshaun Watson because they had Deshaun Watson and DeAndre Hopkins, and they were still winning 4 games a season. They made the playoffs a couple times, but they just haven't been a very good football team overall. And it's been coaching. I mean, Bill O'Brien's just been a terrible coach. And to me, Lovie Smith was not the best hire to do, but, I mean, he'll get you the number 1 overall pick this year, probably.
Yeah, and that Texans linebacker room, I need them to step up if they want a chance at anything in this year. They need to step up, be able to cover inside routes. They need to be able to cover wide receivers well. And Christian Kirk, he's decent enough to cover some guys. Not sure about their other guy. Oh, Kevin Pierre-Louis, German linebacker. If he needs to play well as well, that whole linebacker room does, if they need to cover anybody. Texans right now are kind of that team that no one expects to do anything. But if Davis Mills plays well, if their linebacker room plays well, if Derek Stingley plays well, that's going to be a 3rd pick. Derek Stingley, rookie, if he's able to shut down receivers, is going to help that defense a lot. But they don't have the pieces on defense regardless, so it's going to be very tough. Yeah. But if these linebackers, corner, Davis Mills especially, if they play well, be able to score points, then they have a chance against the division rival. I'm going Colts on this one.
I like Colts too. Tim said Cook's going to eat. Technically, will be behind a lot. Yeah, that's true. So that's one of the good things about, if you have someone like Brandon Cooks in fantasy, don't think he's going to get a lot of touchdowns, but he's going to get a lot of yards. And if you're in a PPR league, he's going to get a lot of catches. So we'll go on to the next game. This is the one that Protest is going to be watching all day. Saints at Falcons playing in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. If you've never been there, it's one of the nicest looking stadiums from the outside. I mean, it looks like a front end of a Mercedes-Benz. It's really sweet, actually. I went there last year when I went to Atlanta, or not last year, a couple months ago, when I went to Atlanta, and it wasn't during football season, but I was able to stand outside of it, and this thing's massive. It's huge. It's one of the best looking stadiums I've seen. So besides that, we got the Saints and the Falcons. We won't spend too long on the Saints because I know you don't like them. But who's your players to look at for the Saints?
James Winston, I'm starting off with him. I don't think James Winston's a good quarterback at all. So he's going to have to play well. He has the receivers in Slant Boy 1.0 and 2.0, Michael Thomas and Chris Olave. Those Slant Boys need to be able to do slants well, and James needs to find them and be accurate with the football. And he showed that last year when the small sample of games we saw before he tore his ACL. And if he can find that rhythm that he had last year, his Saints offense could be really good, especially with the receivers they have. Another guy, Cameron Jordan, he's been a sack monster for his career with the Saints. He needs to continue to do that. He is getting older. He needs to continue to be that force on the Saints D-line. That's going to help him against the Falcons, especially if they can get past the O-line. And then last but not least, their safeties and Tyrann Mathieu and Marcus May. Their safeties are going to be able to lock down deep plays from Kyle Pitts, Drake London. If they can do that, it's going to be tougher for Marcus Mariota to get down the field with the football.
So for the Saints, my guys watched James Williams, Winston. Sorry, I can't even say his name. He's got to play good. Now he has been accurate with the Saints when he plays. He's been extremely accurate with the football when he plays. The problem is he's been hurt, so like he hasn't played a lot of football lately. Might hurt him a little bit, but I think he'll have a decent game. I think they're going to do a lot of short stuff. I don't think they're going deep very often, which could open up the deep game if they do short, long ball. But my second player is Alvin Kamara, because if they want to be successful, their run game has to work. They have to open up the passing game, in my opinion, with Alvin Kamara. And I think Atlanta's D line has buffed up over the past year. So he's got to find the holes. Obviously, he's a threat as a wide receiver as well, or like catching the ball out of the backfield and stuff. That's where he gets a lot of his yards from. So he's got to be able to do that as well. And then probably my third pick, Marshawn Lattimore. He's ranked up there in the top 10 cornerbacks. He obviously doesn't see it as a Falcon fan. I don't really see it either. He's young though. He's still has a ceiling to reach. He's not in his prime yet. So he's got to be able to lock down some of these guys. And the Falcons wide receivers are tall. They're bulky. They're going to be hard to defend when you're a shorter corner or just fast or whatever. So I've got Marshawn Lattimore as my third guy to watch for the Saints.
Yeah, the deal. Appreciate you stopping by. Pitts, I think he's a good piece, and I think we're rebuilding to a point where we're gone from Matt Ryan. We have a more mobile quarterback in Marcus Mariota and Desmond Ridder. I don't think we're going to waste Kyle Pitts, but we are in a rebuild phase right now, and Kyle Pitts is one of the key pieces of the rebuild, and he's going to help the offense out tremendously.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and go on with the Falcons now. I'll do my picks first. I'm actually going to stay away from quarterbacks today for the Falcons because I think Marcus Mariota is just a solid piece. I don't think he's going to go above and beyond, but I don't think he's going to underperform either. I think he's going to be a perfect middleman until Desmond Ridder is ready. So my number one pick, Drake London. He's a big body receiver. He can be really hard to defend against, being 6'4", 6'5". That's extremely hard to defend. He doesn't have blazing speed, but you don't need blazing speed when you're 5 inches taller than your defender. As long as the ball's in the vicinity, he should be able to catch it. Which is why I don't have Marcus Mariota up there as my top 3 to watch in this game, because he can throw the ball anywhere. Kyle Pitts or Drake London are going to be able to catch it. Number 2, Kyle Pitts. I think he's going to have an awesome year this year. I think he's going to be one of the best tight ends in fantasy football. I don't know about touchdown-wise because I haven't watched the Falcons enough in preseason to see how they are in the red zone, but Kyle Pitts is going to be extremely good for PPR leagues, I think. And I think he has a chance to break 1,000 yards this year as a receiving tight end. And then my pick number 3, Cordarrelle Patterson. He's a huge part of this offense. I almost want A.J. Terrell, but I think we already know what A.J. Terrell is made of. Cordarrelle Patterson had a good year last year. He was solid, above average in my opinion. He was definitely up there with some of the best running backs. But they don't use him at running back. They use him at wide receiver. They use him on the outside. They use him at slot. They use him at running back. They screen pass. They do outside screens with him. So Cordarrelle Patterson has a chance to be a fantasy god this year. But if I didn't go Cordarrelle Patterson, I would go Tyler Algier. I think he needs to try to earn that starting spot at running back. Damian Williams, I don't think he's going to keep that spot long. Tyler Algier, they drafted high. I mean, for a running back, third round, right? That's not a bad spot to pick a running back. Like, you're potentially going to be the starting running back by the end of the season if you're picked before the 4th round in a running back room. But then your edge rusher. Ebiketie, man. There's so many pieces that I'm interested to look at. And, obviously, him being a Falcons fan, I'm a Jags fan. We pay attention to these 2 drafts the most. So, I know more about the Falcons draft class than I would about Miami or Tampa Bay's or whatever. So like, there's a lot of pieces on the Falcons that I'm excited to watch for. I'm not even that much of a Falcons fan. I'm kind of lean towards them because obviously we watch a lot of their games and stuff. So like, there's a lot of their team I like. So I'm gonna do an unbiased bias pick and pick the Falcons as my team to win this game.
Okay. For me, the three players that I need to see perform, the notable players, is start off with Arnold Mccaffrey. I need to see him get past the Saints O-line that can be good at times and be able to put pressure.
They're about their left tackle.
And he may be on that side.
Yeah. So
it's going to be and McKinney needs to be able to beat the tackle that he's going against, be able to put pressure on Jameis Winston, and be able to force him into passes that we all know Jameis Winston is prone to passing. Interceptions, 30 touchdowns, 30 interception season. He can do it again. I have full faith in Jameis Winston that he can throw 30 interceptions again. But Arnold McKinney, I really want to see him in the run game, get tackles for losses. Need to see him put pressure on the quarterback. I don't care if he gets a sack or not, but at least if he's putting pressure, that's all that matters for me. Another person I need to see is the safeties in Richie Grant and Jalen Hawkins. They're young safeties. They didn't get as much playing time last year, so I really need to see them be able to cover deep in the secondary part of the field and be able to cover receivers in Michael Thomas and Chris Olave if they go deep. And also, last but not least, I'm going to go with Drake London. Drake London, a big physical receiver, like Ian said, and he's going to be winning 90% of the 50-50 balls. So we're going to see. I'm going to give it, look at it. This is cool. I think I need to take this real quick.
All right, so this is Drake London. So Drake London isn't going to have the wide receiver room is just not extremely great either. So like Drake London's going to get the majority of the looks. I actually like that I can stand up behind the couch too. That's kind of dope. So we've got the Falcons winning this game. I think it's going to be a close game though. I don't think Pradesh would disagree with that. But I think the Falcons have a very good chance on winning this football game. It's at home. So they have a very good chance. So then game number, we have two more 1 o'clock games to look at. Then we'll have 3 and 4 o'clock games, and then the 8 o'clock game, and then the Monday Night Football game. So we're almost done. We've got the Ravens at Jets. I think Lamar's going to have a breakout year. Granted, every year for him is kind of a breakout year when he's healthy. But Lamar, he's betting on himself. He's playing under a franchise tag contract next year. He doesn't have the guaranteed money or anything like, his counterparts like Deshaun Watson, these other guys. And really, the Ravens have to get this deal done before Justin Herbert and Joey Burrow get their contracts. Because if Deshaun reset the market at $250 million guaranteed, man, Joe Burrow, after making the Super Bowl in his second year, and Justin Herbert being a potential top 5 quarterback of all time, not all time, sorry, but out of everybody in the NFL right now, these guys are going to completely reset the market. So they're going to have to really pay Lamar, in my opinion. And it looks like there was rumors that it was $250 million contract or over that. There just wasn't that much guaranteed. So Deshaun Watson definitely reset the market for the quarterbacks, which, Lamar to me deserves it more than Deshaun Watson does, especially with all the stuff that Deshaun Watson has going on in the background. You're paying him, and he's not even going to play until more than halfway through this season. I have the Ravens winning this game against the Jets. I think that, with Zach Wilson being out, they do have Joe Flacco starting to prove him vet, but the Ravens are going to be good this year. My players to watch for the Ravens, Lamar Jackson. Obviously, he's, like I said, he's proven he's trying to work his way for a contract. He's going to be one to definitely watch. J.K. Dobbins is going to be my second player to watch because J.K. Dobbins, they said they're going to play him kind of softly because of his injury history. But he needs to make the most out of his opportunities. And then my third player to watch for the Ravens is Mark Andrews. He has the potential to be the best tight end in football this year. I don't think there's much debate for that. Travis Kelce is going to be up there without any real competition at the wide receiver position, other than Juju and McCole Hardman. But Mark Andrews is going to be probably the best tight end in football. There's only a few guys that can take that from him. Kyle Pitts is one of them. Travis Kelce is one of them. George Kittle, but he's kind of hurt right now.
Tyler Algier is out today.
Oh, he's out?
I don't know why, but he's out.
Dang.
Damn. I'd like to see him. I wanted to see him a lot more today.
All right, so I'll move on to the Ravens.
Okay.
We both said the Falcons are going to win. I said it's most likely going to be a close game.
Yeah. That's usually how the Falcons Saints games are. They're usually close. Even you saw when Drew Brees and Matt Ryan were there, they always had competitive, tough games. That's what it is with this rivalry and with the Aints. It's definitely going to be a hard-fought game, and I think Marcus Mariota and receivers, they're going to be able to outperform the Saints and that team. I know they had some pieces on defense, but I think with the added mobility that we have now in the quarterback room, I think it's going to play a big part.
So then I went on the Ravens game. I said my notable players to watch is Lamar, Mark Andrews, and J.K. Dobbins.
Okay. Lamar is going to be someone to look out for because, you said, I think I already said the contract.
Yeah.
He didn't give him his contract, but it was a very reasonable contract, too. It was somewhat $250 million range.
Yeah, but it didn't have the guaranteed money like Deshaun Watson's did. So I think Deshaun Watson really screwed up this quarterback market.
Yeah, he did.
Because he's not even playing and getting that.
Oh, man, he really finessed his way for the Browns.
So maybe the Browns did it just because they knew Lamar was in a contract year. So they were like, let's give this guy $250 million guaranteed. They have to do $325 guaranteed.
Oh, my God. But, yeah, Lamar, he needs to be accurate with the football. I've been saying this for a while. Lamar is a good quarterback. He's a very good rusher, but he needs to be more accurate with football. And every year he's been improving with his accuracy a little bit. But I want to see that taken to the next step. As much of these franchise quarterback guys, how accurate they are with the football, I need to see Lamar that accurate with the football. They are a one-first offense, so probably won't be able to see as much passing as we'd like. But Lamar is going to have to pass the ball if they shut down the run game. And I really want to see Lamar be able to throw the ball on a dot, deep balls, medium runs. I need to see him put it on the money. The second
was desperate. Yeah, they were.
who was?
Browns were desperate.
Yeah, they were really desperate. The second player I want to watch on the Ravens is their safeties. The Ravens safeties, we know they can play well, but the whole Ravens defense and offense were injured last year. They need to be able to pick up the slack, be able to get back from their injuries, be able to perform like the Ravens defense can perform and be a dominant defense. That's what I want to see from the Ravens safeties. And last but not least, I'm gonna say was Ty Bowser. Is he still in the Ravens? Ty Bowser. You know what? I'll go Calais Campbell. Calais Campbell, dominant rusher. He's good year in and year out. I need to see him be able to beat the Jets tackles, be able to outperform them, be able to put pressure on Joe Flacco, because Joe Flacco, he's not the same quarterback he was. We know that. So they're going to be able to put pressure on Joe Flacco. They're going to force him to pick. It could potentially be a blowout by that time. And the Ravens have as many shots as any to be able to put down the law on the Jets and be able to. This might be one of the few blowouts of the week.
Yeah. All right. So then we've got the Jets. Who are your notable players for the Jets this week?
First off, I'm going to say Breece Hall.
Yeah.
I need to see Breece Hall try to fight with Michael Carter for that first running back spot. I need to see the run game very much working for the Jets against this Ravens defense that can play well against the run. Because Breece Hall needs to carry this offense with Joe Flacco starting right now with Zach Wilson out. Joe Flacco is not going to be able to do it himself, and with the running game working, it's just only going to help Joe Flacco. And the second person I'm going to say is Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco, he knows how to play. He's been playing well in the playoffs. He's one of the best passer ratings in the playoffs from any quarterback. And he needs to show that he can play like the playoffs as a backup. And he's really going to need to take over if they just want any chance of winning this game. He has the receivers around him. He has the running game around him. He has some sort of an O-line around him. So definitely get the ball to Corey Davis, get the ball to Garrett Wilson. He's the new receiver. That's going to open up so much more for the running game and open up so much more for Joe Flacco. And last but not least, Jermaine Jones.
Yeah.
Jermaine Johnson, I need to see his pass rushing ability today and be able to see him in stopping the run game. And I need to see Jermaine Johnson get a sack of Lamar. Force Lamar if they're going run first right now. I need to force him on QB design runs, force Lamar backwards and not forwards. So that's what I want to see from the Jets.
Yeah, so my picks are extremely similar. Breece Hall, obviously we need to watch him. He's trying to take over the starting running back spot from Michael Carter. It looks like, I'm looking at ESPN right now, he is the starting running back on the roster at the moment, which I thought it was kind of weird. I think, obviously, they wanted weapons all around Zach Wilson, but to me, Michael Carter played well last year. So in order for Breece Hall to get the nod, he has to be outperforming Michael Carter, right? So, like, the level we saw Michael Carter, Breece Hall, I think is going to play at a bigger level. So he's one to watch. I'm also going with their wide receiver room in general because they've got a lot of young guys on it. They've got some playmakers, Elijah Moore, Corey Davis, Garrett Wilson. Braxton Berrios had a nice connection with Zach Wilson last year. He's obviously a decent returner too. And then they need to help out Joe Flacco. Not 100% sure about the Jets' O-line either. There's a reason Zach Wilson got hurt and the preseason, and he got hurt last year. So that's one to look at. And then my last pick for the Jets to watch out for, Sauce Gardner. He was the first corner taken for a reason, and I think he needs to be able to really shine on his defense. The great corners, they shine even if there's no pieces around. I almost said their defense in general because, like you said, Jermaine Johnson, he fell so far in the draft when he was projected to be a top 3 edge rusher. He fell. So I'm excited to watch him as well. But those are definitely the players to watch for the Jets. But I've got the Ravens winning this game.
Yeah, I have the Ravens winning this game. I don't know how Joe Flacco is going to play today. That's going to be the deciding factor today for the Jets. Joe Flacco plays well. Maybe they get a shot at the Ravens. It is week 1. Anything can happen. Teams don't know each other yet, so that's the only thing going for the Jets right now. And Joe Flacco needs to kind of pick up Flacco and kind of step up.
And the game we've been waiting for.
Ian's the game Ian's gonna be watching like a hawk today. I think it's the Jaguars and Commanders. All right. I'm going to go my 3 first for the Jaguars, and then I'll let you go on from there.
Yeah,
for the Jaguars for a minute. First thing today, the Jaguars, first player notable is Trevor Lawrence. I need to see Trevor Lawrence take a big leap in year 2 from what he did last year. Not saying he played horrible last year, but I do need to see a little step of improvement this year, and I think he can. They have an improved offensive line around him. He has receivers now, Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, and he has the Travis Etienne back, his college roommate, so that's going to help him tremendously. And Trevor, I like to see him be accurate with the football as well, and I need to see him play, and I think he can. He's the number 1 overall pick for a reason, and because he has the whole talent in the world. So Trevor gets his ball to his receivers, be able to get Travis Etienne the ball in the receiving game, be able to get some running back help and rushing game help, then that's going to help Trevor Lawrence tremendously to year 2. Second player, Andre Cisco on the safety position. Those safeties going to have to play well against some deep receivers in Scary Terry. If they can't cover deep, then Scary Terry is going to burn them all day. Jahan Dotson could even beat him too if they're not playing well. That's why Andre Cisco is another player to watch because he has to really, really step up and cover some of these receivers today that the Commanders have. And last but not least, the interior line of the Jaguars defense. We all know Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker are going to be good, but Dwayne Smoot and the defensive tackle help. Going to see how they play today and if they can provide more pressure. With Trayvon Walker getting more of the looks, is going to open up situations for the D tackles to be able to get some pressure on the quarterback. And if they can do that, Carson Wentz is very turnover prone, so he can be able to throw interceptions if they get pressure on him.
Yeah, so my players to watch, Trevor Lawrence is an obvious one, so I'm not going to say Trevor Lawrence is a Jaguars fan. But Zay Jones, I think if you're going to pick a wide receiver from the Jacksonville Jaguars in fantasy, Zay Jones is the one to pick. Him and Trevor Lawrence have had a extremely good connection throughout preseason. Not to say him and Christian Kirk haven't, but it was very evident in preseason that Zay Jones was Trevor Lawrence's number one option. My second one is going to be the defensive line. Like you said, Scary Terry and John Dotson are fast. You have to pressure Carson Wentz. Like you said, Carson Wentz is very turnover prone when pressured. He tries to make something out of nothing, and only one guy can do that, Patrick Mahomes. Carson Wentz not very good at it. He makes turnovers doing that. So this defensive line in Josh Allen, Trayvon Walker, Arden Key, Dewan Smoot, these guys, Fatu Kasi, these guys got to put pressure on the quarterback. And I want to see some turnovers from this defensive line hitting the running back and quarterback in the backfield. Antonio Gibson, turnover prone. You've got to make the most out of the opportunities when you get him in the backfield to knock the ball out. Trayvon Walker had a forced fumble in preseason. We all know what kind of edge rusher Josh Allen is. And then you need to plug up the holes and tackle for a loss. And then number 3 for me is Tyson Campbell. He's the cornerback 3 on the depth chart. Damn. But I think he's going to be cornerback 1 by the end of the season. He's very good. He was a rookie last year out of Georgia. So we have not only Tyson Campbell, we have his teammate Trayvon Walker on this defense. So if we can replicate a little bit of what they did together at Georgia, I'll be very happy. And Tyson Campbell needs to basically beat out Shaquille Griffin for his job, because we can't play Shaquille Griffin for forever. We're going to have to really save money on the cap for when Trevor Lawrence's contract comes up. So, unfortunately, you're not going to be able to keep that cornerback room all together. But, like I said, Tyson Campbell's my third option. Fatu Kasi is listed as questionable today. I think he'll play. There hasn't been any. They said during a press conference the other day that he will be playing, but he's still questionable as of right now. So, yeah, I've got the Jaguars winning this game 45-3. No, just kidding. Not that. I think it's going to be a close, low-scoring game, in my opinion.
I'm going to go to the Jaguars winning this game, too. It's hard for me to take Commanders right now with Chase Young out and everything.
Yeah, they have a lot of injuries. That's another thing. The Jaguars have to take advantage of an injury-riddled team.
Yeah. And for the Commanders, Carson Wentz is going to be someone to look at today in this game. If Carson Wentz plays well, they can easily win this game. If Jaguars get pressure on him, he's going to have a rough day for the Commanders. And that's what's more likely looking right now, that Jaguars are going to more pressure on Carson Wentz and the Commanders will get pressure on Lawrence. And if that happens, Warren Wentz is going to play horrible. And he's going to be turnover prone. But that's why Carson Wentz, it's an X factor right now today. He needs to play well. He needs to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. Otherwise, this is the last opportunity as a starting quarterback. Secondly, I need to see Montez Sweat pick up the slack because Chase Young is out. Montez Sweat's a good pass rusher as well. It's even better paired up with Chase Young, but he's going to have to do everything himself today. He's going to be able to force pressures on Trevor Lawrence, force him the passes that he shouldn't make. That's all going to be on Montez Sweat today. But also, he does have help in my third guy, Jonathan Allen. Jonathan Allen's a very good, one of the best D tackles in the game. And he's going to be able to help with that pressure with Chase Young on. So they have chances of that pressure. And if Montez Sweat and Jonathan Allen can work together, then then they can. And if they force Trevor Lawrence to make plays, force him to get the ball out quick, that's going to be a great day for the Commanders.
Yeah, big thing the Jags are going to have to do to win this game, they're going to have to be efficient in the red zone. They were not very efficient in the red zone during preseason. I expect them to be a little bit better. I still think they're a kind of team that has to warm up. They start off slow, get hot during the game. I think they're going to have to score every time they're in the red zone, though, and a touchdown at that. They did very good driving down the field with their starters all preseason. And then in the last game of the season last year, obviously knocked the Colts out of the playoffs. We've seen what this team's capable of in that game. And then they've only gotten better. They got a better offensive line. They've gotten a better running back room with Travis Etienne and James Robinson back. You got to think, in that game against the Colts, their featured back was Dare Ogunbowale. They didn't have a running back. And this year they have James Robinson and Travis Etienne back. Now, granted, they did say they were going to keep it slow with James Robinson because he hurt his ACL or Achilles very late last year. It was like 4 weeks left of the NFL season and he hurt it. So normally you're out for the whole season, which he's like borderline not ready, but he is ready. He healed really quickly. So I expect him not to have a big workload. So I would not be starting him in fantasy today. Travis, if you're going to start a running back for the Jaguars, it's Travis Etienne. Even he's coming off a big injury, though. So, part of me doesn't see them running the ball a whole lot, but they could. Because they also drafted Steve Connor. So they have enough depth at running back. And then, like I said, they got to be efficient in the red zone. And they have to get pressure to the quarterback. Those are the two key things they have to do to win this football game.
With all the pieces the Jaguars have and all the offensive weapons they got, if the Trevor Lawrence and the receivers play well together, if they match well together, if they can score in the red zone, if their defense can provide enough pass rush to force 3 and outs on this team, the Jaguars are going to win this game. Next up, we have 4 o'clock games in the primetime games. Packers and Vikings. 3 people for the Packers I'm watching out right now. Is the pass rush for the Packers.
Yeah.
The pass rush for the Packers have to force Kirk Cousins to short, quick passes and 3 and outs. Because if they give Kirk Cousins too much time, he's going to beat him over the top with Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, and be able to rush all over them. And also, second person I'm watching is Jaire Alexander. We know he's a really good corner. He needs to lock down Justin Jefferson and not get caught getting burned by Justin Jefferson. Because we all know Justin Jefferson is one of the top receivers in the league, and Jaire needs to shut him down. Last but not least is going to be Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones needs to have a good performance because Aaron Rodgers doesn't have the receiver room that he had last year with Devontae Adams and everybody. He has 2 rookies in Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, Sammy Watkins, who's hit or miss, and then Randall Cox has been sort of decent with him. And that's all I'm going to say because Aaron Jones needs to step up because if he can't, it's going to be hard if Aaron Rodgers and the receivers can't get a connection.
Yeah, so my top players for the Green Bay Packers today is going to be their defense. Their defense has been revamped, and it's expected to be one of the better defenses in the NFC. I personally don't see it yet because I need to see it first. But they're projected to have a very good defense this year. So their defense has to step up. They have to keep Kirk Cousins under control. And Kirk Cousins is a very safe quarterback with the football. So their defense has to step up, try to make Kirk Cousins make some mistakes. My second player, this is going to be kind of lame because I'm doing whole groups, wide receivers. They have to step up. Somebody has to step up in that room, especially because Allen Lazard's out, and it's crazy to think that he's the number 1 option. Nothing Allen Lazard's bad because him and Aaron Rodgers have a very good connection, but Allen Lazard's not a number 1 wide receiver. He's a number 2, a very good number 2, but losing out. Yeah, and he's out anyway. So your number 1 wide receiver, who's normally a number 2, is Allen. And really, you could argue he was a number 3 option last year between Valdez-Scantling and Devontae Adams. Yeah. So, like I said, their wide receivers, someone's got to step up in that room. And, I mean, Dobbs could.
Yeah.
He could.
He could.
And then number 3, Aaron Rodgers. This is adversity. You know, he doesn't have that strong of a wide receiver room. Offensive line is decent. Special teams, I think, is going to be better than it was last year. Hopefully their defense actually is better than it was last year, because that was one of the big reasons they lost. I mean, Aaron Rodgers didn't show up in the playoffs, but their special teams was terrible in the playoffs, and so was their defense. So I've got Aaron Rodgers as a personal look at in this game.
The Packers, they have to find a connection. Aaron Rodgers has to find a connection with the receiver.
Has to find somebody.
And the defense has to play well enough to stop these very good receivers of the Vikings and their running game.
I almost started Robert Tonyan.
Oh.
Almost did, because I'm worried about the wide receiver room.
Yeah, because sometimes it takes Aaron Rodgers some time to get accustomed with the receivers in the game.
Yeah. Well, last year he would force it to Devonte Adams, even if somebody was wide open, because he didn't trust him like he does Devonte.
The Minnesota Vikings, you'll look at Kirk Cousins. I need him to have the same year that he did last year.
Yeah.
Only 8 interceptions. Very underrated season last year. He has receivers around him. I think he can play it just as well. He's a safe quarterback. He's going to take his checkdowns. He's going to take the intermediate routes when it's open. And he's also going to take some shots to Jefferson and Thielen when he sees it, when he sees the opportunity. So if Kirk Cousins plays like last year, he's going to be fine. I have no worries for Kirk Cousins right now. Secondly, who I want to see is Harrison Smith and that safety room. Harrison Smith, we all know, is an all-pro. He's a very good safety. Just continue what you've been doing. That's what Vikings are preaching. Be consistent. Harrison Smith and the safeties need to be consistent because if Romeo Doubs or any of the receivers, speedy receivers for the Packers, if they get past, Aaron Rodgers is going to have a field day with it. And last but not least, the Vikings defensive line. Yes, you have Emerson Griffin still, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Emerson Griffin and company on that D line, they can be very good. They can be one of the best if they need to. And we need to see it against Aaron Rodgers, because Aaron Rodgers, we all know he doesn't like pressure. And we've seen him play at times against the 49ers where he lost. 49ers clamped him up so bad because of their pass rush and their coverage. The Vikings can do that. Packers are in for a rough day, especially with no receivers.
Yeah, I agree with most of your picks. Kirk Cousins is the guy to watch. Like you said, if he has a year like he did last year, the Vikings are going to be a playoff team. I think they're going to have a better coaching staff this year. With that being said, my second player to watch is McConnell, the head coach. I want to see how he calls these games with the amount of offensive weapons he has. I want to see how he controls the defense, being an offensive-minded head coach, because their defense is someone that they have pieces all over the place where they could be a top defense as well. So I'm curious to see how their defense works with him at head coach, because I think their offense is going to be phenomenal this year. I think Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, Dalvin Cook, Kirk Cousins, they all have a chance to have career years this year under this new head coach. And then my third pick is Justin Jefferson. I think he has a chance to be the number one wide receiver in football this year, if they win games. Like, I think that's one of the things that's going to hold him back, is if they don't win a lot of games. Why would you pick Justin Jefferson as your top wide receiver when you're getting garbage stats? You know, that's always the issue with, like, Cooper Kupp. He had an amazing year last year, and they were winning football games. So it's not like they were garbage stats. You can't say Cooper Kupp had garbage stats last year. But players in the past could say have garbage stats. Derek Carr. A lot of people say Derek Carr had garbage stats because they lost games by a lot, so they had to throw the football a lot. Justin Herbert's another one who had some garbage stats because, you know, you only win 8-9 games. You had 7 or 8 losses, so, like, you're throwing the football a lot. So that's one thing about Justin Jefferson that could make or break this year for him, is if they're successful or not. So those are my 3. Justin Jefferson, I think, has a chance to be the number 1 football in the NFL this year. What number 1 wide receiver in the football year? You know what I'm trying to say. Yeah. I'm talking football all morning. I keep saying the word football now. Football. We got 50 more minutes until football kicks off, so we're going to try to get through these, which we have. Who do you have winning this game?
This is a toss. This was one of the toss-ups because if Aaron Rodgers and the receivers don't play well, then it's going to be a long day for them. And the Vikings have to, on paper, they have the team to be able to score some points. They have a new head coach. I'm going to go to the Packers just because I haven't seen the new head coach and how their new team works this year. I still think they can score plenty of points with the Packers. But I'm going to trust Aaron Rodgers right now and say that no matter if he doesn't have Devonte Adams, he's still going to make those receivers look better.
Yeah, so this is one. This is probably our first disagreement. I think the Packers and the Vikings are going to split their games this year. And I think the Packers have a better chance at winning at home. So I'm going with the Vikings here, being an away team without wide receiver help. I'm going to go with the Vikings. And last year, Aaron Rodgers started off terrible in his first game back against the Saints. They had the Saints looking like a playoff.
That Saints look blown.
Everybody, 5 touchdowns for Jameis Winston. I mean, people were calling him the next MVP. I mean, he only had 150 yards, but he had 5 touchdowns. So
Week 1 overreaction.
Yeah, exactly. And I think he threw half his interceptions in game 1 last year.
Yeah.
And Aaron Rodgers, I think he threw, 7 interceptions?
3 interceptions.
Yeah, threw 3 in the first game or something. So,
which makes it even more crazy that he only had 4 of us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I'm going to go with the Vikings to win this game. Antonio, I know you're probably heading to the game already, so you're probably not here for this, but that's his team. So yeah, let's go with the Giants at Titans.
3 players that I'm looking out for the Giants. Kayvon Thibodeau is out, which is going to hurt them a lot. But one of the players I'm looking at is Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
I've been going a lot of quarterback heavy. It's week 1. You have to look at the quarterbacks this week. Daniel Jones, in his proven year, they declined his 5th-year option. So if they want to keep him, he's going to have to prove it to the Giants. He's going to have to play way better, be way less turnover prone than he was last year and years past. And has to be able to read the defense, read players, read his routes, be able to put the ball on the money on perfect timing routes. He has to be able to give the ball to receivers, and he has to give Saquon Barkley the opportunity to be Saquon Barkley. And that brings me to him as my second player. Saquon Barkley, haven't seen him like Christian McCaffrey the last 2.5 years because he's been injured. I still believe Saquon Barkley can be that guy he was in his rookie year. He's just got to prove it again. And he's got to get the ball a little bit more. I'm not sure how much Brian Dable trusts Daniel Jones right now, but I know Saquon Barkley's still going to get his reps, and he can be the Saquon of the past. He just got to make sure he stays healthy and not be injury prone. But Saquon needs to have a good game today against the Titans, no matter if they win or lose. He needs to be able to show the Giants that he can be their lead back for the future. And last but not least, I'm going to see the Giants defense in general. Giants defense need to put pressure on Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill doesn't have A.J. Brown anymore, so he's going to be working with a rookie receiver and Robert Woods. Decent receivers there. So the Giants really need to cause some pass rush, be able to cover these receivers well from Titans. And most importantly, Titans have the best running back in the league in Derrick Henry. You have to be able to stop Derrick Henry. That's the only thing I'm worried about the Giants is that they're going to get run over all day with Derrick Henry. So Giants have to tackle Derrick Henry well. They have to go low. They have to put some pressure. They have to get some penetration on the O-line to force Derrick Henry to the outside so that way they can tackle.
So my 3 for the Giants, if Kayvon Thibodeau was playing, my focus would be on the defensive line. But I don't think the defensive line is going to play very well against Derrick Henry. So they're not my players thing to watch because I don't think they're going to be very good, especially without their number 1 overall pick. But I agree. Daniel Jones, 100%. How could you not pick him as your player to watch? He's in a prove-it year. It's make or break. It's probably break for Daniel Jones, but he's athletic. I think he's been one of the quarterbacks. Him and Baker Mayfield, to me, are 2 of the quarterbacks that have been to some of the bad situations. Daniel Jones and Baker Mayfield both have had multiple head coach changes. And Daniel Jones has had some really bad head coaches. Joe Judge.
Yeah.
Damn, who was the guy? Who was the other guy that benched?
Ben McAdoo.
Ben McAdoo benched Eli Manning for Daniel.
Yeah.
I just
When he broke his starting.
Yeah, Ben McAdoo was a joke of a coach. Joke of a coach in general. He shouldn't be an NFL coach anyway. So Daniel Jones is my guy to watch. My second is Evan Neal. First tackle taken off in the draft. He's playing right tackle today. He's more of a left tackle, so I'm interested to see how he does at the tackle position.
Titans lost to Jeffrey Simmons, so pretty easy. It's gonna be a little easier.
Yeah, so but this is a pretty good test because the Titans aren't terrible. They're not the best D line in the league, but he's going to have a little bit of a matchup there. So then my third thing to watch for, this one's going to kind of surprise some people. Wan'Dale Robinson, their fourth string wide receiver. Their wide receiver room in general, Kenny Golladay, obviously he finessed the market and he isn't worth what he's getting paid. Hopefully that changes this year. Kadarius Toney, Sterling Shepard, we've got a decent wide receiver room. But Wan'Dale Robinson, I'm saying at week 1, he is going to be a very good wide receiver for the Giants. Mark my words. I watched tape on him. I've talked with other Giants fans. They all do the same thing. Wan'Dale Robinson, market, you'll be most likely taking him in fantasy. He's definitely on the free agents list because nobody took him. But keep an eye out on him. So Wan'Dale Robinson is my third. And then we'll go on to the Titans. So I'll start off on the Titans. Derrick Henry, after this injury, he's the guy for me. Yeah, I hope he stays healthy this year. Even as a Jags fan, hate injuries on anybody, but especially a top player in the league, you hate anybody like that going down. So he's my number one. The offensive line is my second, to make holes for Derrick Henry and to protect Ryan Tannehill. And with that being said, my third, Ryan Tannehill and Traylon Burks. I'm going to do a combo for them because Ryan Tannehill has to get a connection early because he's got a rookie quarterback breathing down his neck for the starting job.
Yeah, and for the Titans, people I want to see is the Titans. I'm going to say Titans defense in general because the Titans defense, they lost their best pass rusher in Jeffrey Simmons for the year, which is going to hurt. They lost linebacker Sean Evans to the Falcons in free agency, which was a very big hurt to their pass rush because he was blitzing a lot last year. When they blitzed, Sean Evans was the one guy getting the sack. So that just hurt them a lot. We're gonna see this defense. Can they guard these receivers from the Giants? Kadarius Toney is good. They have Sterling Shepard's good. Giants have good receivers, and they can get open if they need to. And Titans need to be able to do that. And they also need to get pressure on Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones and pressure, they're going to win the game most 95% of the time. And then secondly, I want to see Ryan Tannehill. After that playoff loss and where he threw 3 interceptions and lost in that game, maybe people are overreacting and saying that he's not that great. But it was only one game. So Ryan Tannehill needs to show Titans fans especially, that he can be the guy until Malik Willis takes over. And last but not least, it's going to be, like Ian said, the offensive line. The offensive line needs to hold up, and I think it can. The Giants don't have Kayvon Thibodeau today, but they do have Azeez Ojulari, who's been playing well. So if they can guard him and guard that defensive line for the Giants, I think they're going to be able to provide holes for Derrick Henry and be able to rush against his defense, be able to kind of be our second blowout of the week. I'm going to do Titans here.
I almost wanted to do an upset for this one, but I think I'm going to go with the Titans here.
All right. Coming up next, we got the Raiders and the Chargers.
This is probably the best matchup of the day.
Yeah.
One of the Cardinals. The 4 o'clock games are really good. Because Packers and Vikings is a very good game, too. So Raiders, Chargers. Who's your 3 to watch for the Raiders?
For number 1, Devonte Adams. For the Raiders. Devonte Adams, if they get that connection working right off the back, him and Derek Carr, oh man, that's going to be scary for the Chargers defense. Second of all, I need Josh Jacobs. There's some running backs bringing down his neck, a.k.a. Zamir White, that may be bringing down his neck this year. But they declined the 5th-year option.
Yeah, which I've seen that coming.
So it's going to be very interesting as well. Josh Jacobs, if he wants a new deal or if he gets a new deal, he's going to have to prove it himself and be able to run like he's been running the last few years or even better. And last but not least is Trevor Morick at the safety spot. They need to play well against some of these starting receivers, Mike Williams, Josh Palmer, and Keenan Allen. They got big physical receivers on the Chargers. And Trevor Morick may have to defend some of these guys. And that's where we're going to be able to see how good the Raiders safeties are this year.
So mine, I'm going to go with the combo here again, and that's Derek Carr and Devonte Adams together. I think their college connection is going to come out very quickly. Like I said, Derek Carr to me is a sleeper to win MVP. And if Devontae's covered, get the ball to Hunter Renfrow or Darren Waller. So they have a lot of options on offense. My second player to watch is Chandler Jones. He just got that nice little contract to go join the Raiders. They've got a decent pass rush in Max Crosby and Chandler Jones. So I'm hoping that they can get through and get to Justin Herbert. That's going to be one of their keys to winning this football game. And then 3, I don't think it's very good. The Raiders secondary. They've got a tough matchup this week against Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, Austin Eckler out of the backfield. The secondary is going to be tested, especially with Justin Herbert's arm. So, you need to keep him in front of you. Even if you let Justin Herbert chunk off like a 20-yard pass, keep it in front of you. You can't let him throw 60 yards because you will definitely lose this football game. But I think this is going to be a shootout. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. This is probably going to be the highest-scoring game out of all the games listed today.
Like Stephen A. said, Chargers are going to score the most points, but the Raiders are going to win.
Yeah, I don't know how that works. But so I said Derek Carr, Devonte Adams, the secondary for the Raiders, and the pass rush of Chandler Jones and Max Crosby. So the Chargers, Justin Herbert, man, he has potential to be the top quarterback in the NFL this year. So he's going to be somebody I want to watch. New and improved secondary with J.C. Jackson. I'm excited to watch him. And then my third, it's going to be kind of spreading out, really, is their offensive line. I want to see them protect Justin Herbert, create lanes for Austin Eckler, and give Justin Herbert the time to sling it deep. Because this secondary for the Raiders is not very good. So if you can get the time in the pocket, you should have a good chance to win this football game.
First guy I'm going to Chargers is Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert could be the best. Could have an MVP type year this year. He's got the arm to do it. He's got the smarts to do it. Justin Herbert's that all-around franchise quarterback that you want on your team, and he could light it up today. It could definitely be a shootout, like you said, and Justin Herbert could light up the board with his receivers, his running game. Everything could work for him. Second of all, what I want to see is Khalil Mack on that defense with Joey Bosa. Him and Joey Bosa is going to be a force on the D line, and I really want to see him work it a little better. Maybe it's a Von Miller effect again, like a Von Miller effect. Khalil Mack being there and Joey Bosa both on the edge could provide one-on-one opportunities for the D tackles and other rushers, so that way they can get more pressure on Derek Carr. And if you force pressure on Derek Carr as well as any other quarterback, and not being able to get his ball to Hunter Renfrow or Devonte Adams, then it's going to be huge for the Chargers. And last but not least is Jerry Tillery, the defensive tackle.
Oh, yeah.
Like I just said, he's probably going to get one-on-one opportunities with Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa on the edge. So he's going to have to step up and be able to press the quarterback way more than he previously had.
Who do you got winning this? This is probably going to be our first disagreement, maybe.
Or second.
Second.
I'm going Chargers here. I'm going to go Chargers.
I was picking you. I'm going Chargers here as well.
Okay.
So I think most of the AFC West teams all split with each other.
Yeah.
I think there's a very good chance everybody splits with each other. But I think the Chargers got better than the Raiders did. I think the Raiders picked up the best player they possibly could have in Devonte Adams. But other than that, they kind of stayed the same. Because they picked up Chandler Jones, but they lost Naheeb
Carl Nassib.
Nassib, yeah. I don't know why I said that. Nassib was who I was thinking about. So, I mean, they picked up a good one, but lost a good one. So, like, that wasn't that crazy of a thing. But the Chargers picked up J.C. Jackson, Khalil Mack. They kept their team, you know. So I think the Chargers have the better chance. And I think they got a chip on their shoulder from that playoff game. I think the Chargers come in. They're at home. I think they've got this game. So the next game, our last 4:30 game for the afternoon is the Chiefs at Cardinals. This is a game Antonio's going to. He's there right now. Said it's like 101 degrees in Arizona. Chiefs, Cardinals. This is a very good matchup as well. Like I said, these 4:00 games are all really good. Giants and Titans. But
Yeah, the Saints Falcons should have been 4:00.
yeah, that would have been a better because that's a better division game. So the Chiefs, my guys to look at. I'm not going to say Patrick Mahomes because he's proven himself. Even without Tyreek Hill, he made Tyreek Hill to me. So my guys to look at is their defense. They picked up a lot of new players on defense. They drafted some. They got an edge rusher, Karlaftis. I think he's going to be solid with Chris Jones on that D line. So hopefully they can cause some pressure to Kyler Murray, make him roll out of the pocket. But that's where Kyler Murray is dangerous. So you have to really contain him in the pocket. And really, that's what you want to do with a shorter quarterback is keep them in the pocket, force him to throw over the two lines. That's the big thing. I don't need to see a lot of sacks. I need to see them contain Kyler Murray in the pocket. At number 2, Juju Smith-Schuster. He's getting a new chance at a new career there in Kansas City. And I think their offense is going to look completely different because Tyreek Hill was a big one play. I think their defense is going to be better because the Kansas City offense will be on the field more often, which gives their defense time to relax a little bit and get their breath back. Before Patrick Mahomes would come out on the field, one play touchdown, their defense has to come right back out. So, and I think they improved their defense. So Juju Smith, I think, is more of a short guy, get you the hard third down. So he's one to really look at for me. And then my third option to watch, is their offensive line. Offensive line has been solid, but like I said, they need to give Patrick Mahomes the time. They can't rely on the big play. They have to they need to hold the ball for 8, 9, 10 minutes to wear the defense down and then to give their defense a break. These teams that do one-shot touchdowns just aren't very good defensively most of the time, and it's not always because of the defense. Sometimes it is, if you're on the field for 20 minutes and the offense has only been on the field for 2, you get tired. Yeah. So I hope to see smaller plays. I'm cool with a big play every once in a while, but like I said, their run game needs to step up, waste some clock, drive down the field slowly, and they should be able to beat the Arizona Cardinals because I think the Arizona Cardinals lost a lot compared to what they gained.
First of all, for Chiefs, one thing I want to watch is their rookie defensive players. The rookie defensive players are going to be put to the test today against a good offense in the Cardinals. And with Kyler Murray, you're going to have to defend everything, even when he rolls out the pocket. Because if you if you think you're going to step up when Kyler Murray rolls out of the pocket, some receivers are going to improvise and go deeper. So you got to stay vigilant on that defensive side. Some of their rookie safety, their rookie edge, their rookie everything on their defensive line and everything. They're going to have to play well. And we're really going to see how the Chiefs defense plays without Tyrann Mathieu, arguably the heart of that defense. We're definitely going to see that. Second of all, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. If he can play well for Patrick Mahomes, he's not going to be able to have to pass 50 times a game. And I need Clyde Edwards-Helaire to do that because it doesn't have Tyreek Hill anymore. And they won't really go deep, which brings me to my last point. Juju Smith-Schuster, like you said. With the Steelers, he had 2 99-yard touchdowns with Big Ben. One of the only few players to be able to do that. He's not speedy, but he still did get 99 receiving yards, 99-yard touchdowns because he's a good receiver. And Patrick Mahomes is going to be able to find him. And if he gets open, then Patrick Mahomes is going to make life easier for him. And that's the keys to the Chiefs' offense and defense today. Defense needs to play well. Rookies need to play well. Juju Smith-Schuster needs to get open and be able to find Patrick Mahomes his opportunities to get open. And I think the Chiefs will be fine. I got the Chiefs winning this game, but Ian, 3 players from the Cardinals.
I've got the Chiefs winning this game too. So my 3 for the Cardinals is their wide receiver room. They're without DeAndre Hopkins. They're without Rondale Moore. They lost Christian Kirk. Somebody's got to step up.
Rondale Moore left today?
Yeah.
Okay.
So their team, they did draft. I mean, they have wide receivers, but just not as good as they used to be, in my opinion. And I know Christian Kirk was overrated or whatever and got the big contract for whatever reason, but Christian Kirk, I mean, he was like 9 yards short of 1,000 yards. You lose somebody that averaged almost 1,000 yards, like that's a big hit. And you don't replace him, and then Rondale Moore being out and DeAndre Hopkins being suspended doesn't help.
Meets the Atlanta Hollywood Brown and AJ Green.
Yeah, and Hollywood Brown could step up, but he wasn't a number 1 wide receiver in Baltimore, and that's why they got rid of him. So I'm curious to see how he steps up in this offense. Number 2, their secondary. Again, their corners are just not extremely good, and they're going to be tested against the Chiefs. I mean, Andy Reid is a coach that knows how to scheme wide receivers wide open. Patrick Mahomes knows how to extend plays to get wide receivers open. Travis Kelce's one that, him and Patrick Mahomes are on the same page. So, like, if Patrick Mahomes rolls out, Travis Kelce breaks from his route and finds a way to get open for him, which is why Patrick Mahomes is so good at the no-look pass, because Travis Kelce gets open. Some of these, like, quarterbacks that are wide receivers that used to be quarterbacks are really good at it too, because they know what the quarterback's doing and they know what they need to do. Like, if they were in Patrick Mahomes' shoes, they'd know, I need to be here because he's going to go, like, I see where he's going and I know what I want a wide receiver to do. So that connection is just kind of like that. So the secondary is going to be extremely tested today against this wide receiver core. And then Valdez-Scantling, can't forget about him. He's going to be tough to cover. Juju is going to be tough. Travis Kelce, Clyde Edwards-Helaire on the backfield. They got a lot to cover. And Patrick Mahomes is a threat with his legs too. So they're going to be tough to cover. But secondary, wide receivers for the Cardinals. And then number 3, their running back room. They're going to have to run the ball, and they're going to have to run the ball good. And, they lost Chase Edmonds. Somebody's going to have to step up. And James Conner's already proven. I mean, they're going to use him in the red zone. He's going to get a lot of touchdowns. But they need a back to get them down the field. So hopefully they have that. But I still have the Chiefs winning this.
Yeah, the Cardinals, one of the players we need to watch is their offensive line. You saw in the playoff game last year against the Rams.
Oh, yeah.
They could not protect Kyler Murray to save his life. He was running around the field all day trying to get people open and somehow found a way to get completions. Like, it was crazy. He was getting pressure like Mahomes in the Super Bowl against the Bucs and still found ways to get people open. That's going to be a big thing. I didn't really see them too much for the O-line this year. So it's going to be interesting to see how much Kyler Murray has to roll out today. Secondly, is their defense. Like Ian said, their defense lost a lot of pieces. They didn't really gain much. So we're going to see how they play against some of these Chiefs receivers and tight ends and Patrick Mahomes' improvisation. If Patrick Mahomes improvises against them, they're going to have a tough, long day for the Cardinals. And last but not least, Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray, if the rumors are true, if he's playing video games all night, we're going to see it in live action today. Kyler Murray needs to step up his game. He just got his new contract, so he has to prove he's the guy and stop playing video games all night.
Would you stop playing video games all night, though?
No.
Yeah. Like, take my check and then going out on Sunday and losing.
Dude, I have millions of dollars. Why would I not play video games all night? But the Cardinals, if the defense can force Mahomes into 3 and out, if the offense can score with the Chiefs, then I think they have a chance.
Yeah, Antonio, we were talking about, so we're on the last 2 games actually for this week. We talked about your Vikings a little bit. We think the Vikings have a decent shot at winning this game against the Packers. I know you'll probably, they play at 4, so you'll be able to watch, you'll have to rush home to watch both of them, but the Vikings offense should look really good this year. That's like the big thing. The curious spot about the Vikings for us is the defense and how they play with an offensive-minded head coach. Because that, to me, the Vikings have a lot of pieces on defense. They just need to step up. But I think we'll see a career year out of Justin Jefferson, perhaps a career year out of Kirk Cousins as well. And then Adam Thielen, I think, is just going to be a solid check down for Kirk Cousins. And then Dalvin Cook's obviously going to do his thing.
Because if the defense can be as good as they are on paper, if they can keep getting 3 and outs, their offense is going to just flourish.
Yeah.
Game start 125. Okay. Wait, 125.
Oh, they're at
they're Pacific time.
Yeah, Pacific time.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. So we have our last 2 games here. Sunday Night Football tonight, Buccaneers and Cowboys, which is always last year opening kickoff game was one of the best games of the year right off the bat. 3 players I need to look out for the Buccaneers. I'm not gonna say Tom Brady because Tom Brady. I want to say Tom Brady, but I'm not. I'll let you say it. I'm gonna go with the secondary for the Bucs. The secondary, they lost a piece or 2 there, which is a little bit of concern, not too much. They still have that really good defense and with Devin White and everybody. But the secondary, they need to be able to step up against some of these receivers like CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, Turpin, their new rookie receiver as well for the Cowboys. They really need to step up. Second of all, I want to see Julio Jones.
Oh, yeah.
Julio Jones as a wide receiver 3. Is he going to get hurt again with his hamstring? He's going to have hamstring issues. Maybe, probably. But we'll see. Hopefully he doesn't. But if Julio Jones can provide a more explosive role like Antonio Brown did, then that offense is going to be even more better than it was. And last but not least, the offensive line for Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Very hurt.
Yeah. The top 3 centers got hurt. 2 of them out for the year.
Tristan Wirfs is out. He's out?
I think so.
I know
he's hurt.
Yeah, he's questionable, I think. I don't know if he's out or not, but yeah, their offensive line is not looking too great for a 45-year-old throwing the football behind him.
If their offensive line can't protect Tom Brady, it's going to be a long day, especially with the Cowboys and Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, and company on that team.
Yeah. So my 3 to watch for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Tom Brady's one to watch for me because he's had these off-season issues a little bit. He doesn't have a very good offensive line this year. So I've got Tom Brady as one of my guys to watch. Number 2, I've got Julio Jones as well. Hoping for a revival kind of his career. And he's got a Hall of Fame quarterback throwing him the football. There's no excuses. Hopefully he doesn't get injured. And then my 3rd, I could go with the defense, but I'm going to go with Leonard Fournette here. Because that run game is going to have to work for Tom Brady to stay healthy. He's got to be able to pound it so that way Tom Brady can get some time. Maybe they won't blitz, stack the box a little bit, and then Tom Brady can throw to his receivers. He's very good at finding the open guy, but he's very good when he's got a clean pocket. So those are my 3 to watch for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And hopefully you do not have to buy a Green Bay hat and wear it.
Yeah, I tell you, I hope they win so you don't have to wear a Green Bay hat. That would be torture. I think I said it that some guy at Steak and Shake, he said if I put the same jersey on, he'll buy me lunch. He'll give me a free lunch at Steak and Shake. But I said no. That's you don't want to wear anything of your division rivals for sure.
So the Cowboys are next. So my guys watch for the Cowboys. Kind of wide receiver room without Amari Cooper, without Cedric Wilson. It's going to be Michael Gallup. It's going to be CeeDee Lamb. They're putting all their eggs in one basket kind of with CeeDee Lamb. They didn't want to play Amari Cooper. They got Turpin. So this is going to be a really good wide receiver group still. But I'm curious to see how good it is. Because on paper, it's not bad. It's pretty good. I'd say top 10. Number 2, Dak Prescott. He's got to prove he can win these games and make it to the playoffs. They have...
And look at that.
Oh, yeah. Slide a little bit early. But Dak Prescott's running out of time, to me, to lead this team to a playoff and a good playoff run. Because he makes the playoffs, just doesn't do very good at them.
It's Cowboys curse.
Yeah. And it doesn't help that they're in a very bad division. So, wide receivers, Dak Prescott, and then Trayvon Diggs. I would like to see the same interception production, but obviously cut back on the yards allowed. But Trayvon Diggs, he had an awesome year last year. Even though he gave up a lot of yards, he did get a lot of touchdowns. So, like, he might have gave up 70 yards on a play, but then he picked it off before they scored. So, he's going to be one to watch this year for sure.
Yeah. Gallup is out.
Is he?
Hurt. So the 3 players I need to watch is Zeke. Starting off with Zeke. Zeke, I think he could play well. I think he could be the guy that we saw the first 2 years. And even his rookie year, I think he could be that 1,200 plus yard rushing guy. And he needs to prove it again. It's going to help really against this Bucs D line with Vita Vea and everybody on that line. Jason Pierre-Paul.
Oh, Michael Gallup is out.
Gallup is out. Damn. It's going to hurt a little bit. Secondly, what I want to see is Michael Parsons. Michael Parsons, we all know how dominant he was last year. We need him to be dominant again in this game against the Buccaneers. He needs to put the pressure on Tom Brady with a banged-up O-line, and that's going to force Tom Brady into quick 3-and-outs, quick passes, and it's going to be frustrating for Tom Brady. He's going to have to get inside Tom Brady's head.
I'm also interested that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have not released their inactives yet. So right now on the injury report, Giovanni Bernard, Russell Gage, Chris Godwin, Julio Jones. So there are 3 wide receivers out of, they still have Mike Evans, but Russell Gage, Chris Godwin, and Julio Jones are the rest of the wide receivers.
Are they questionable?
No, they haven't been updated yet. So we'll see about them. And then Tristan Wirfs is obviously limited as well, so we don't know about him. So could play, could not, but 3 wide receivers out of the 5 or 6 on your roster, that's not good.
Last but not least, for the Cowboys, I'm going to go with their offensive line. Their offensive line isn't as good as years past, and they didn't be able to protect Dak Prescott. And the Bucs have such a good, one of the best D lines in the league right now, even with the loss of, how much his name? Oh, Dominican. Even with the loss of Dominican Sue, their D line is very, very good, and the Cowboys need to protect Dak Prescott if he's going to have to throw to these receivers, with Michael Gallup out especially.
So my players to watch for I did the
who's winning?
I'm gonna go Cowboys.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Bucs here. I just can't go against Tom Brady every time I do.
I'm gonna go Cowboys here.
Okay.
Oh yeah, we already did everybody to watch for. Yeah. All right, so the last game, and then we will be logging out so we can all watch football because we got 18 minutes until 1 o'clock Eastern. So we're going to go ahead and do the last game, which is the comeback of Russell Wilson in Seattle, playing against the loudest stadium. They broke the record for the most decibels in a stadium. Broncos versus the Seahawks. I'm not very high on Russell Wilson like a lot of people are, but this is a no-brainer that the Broncos are winning this. Like, if you're going to bet on anything, bet on the Broncos money line, bet on Broncos to win, bet on Russell Wilson to throw a touchdown, bet on everything Broncos. Like, there's no reason they shouldn't win this game, and by a lot. And if they don't win it by a lot, or if they don't win, you have some legit worries about the Broncos. Because they're in a super tough division, and if they can't beat the Seahawks, they're in trouble.
Yeah, if Broncos, Russell Wilson, they need to step up out of the gate against a rebuilding team, against his former team. He should light up the scoreboard. He's got Jerry Jeudy and Courtland Sutton there. He's got Javonte Williams.
Yeah.
They should be able to pound the Seahawks right now.
Melvin Gordon. They have 2 really strong backs.
Yeah. And then Seahawks-wise, Geno Smith has to play well. If the Seahawks actually want a chance at kind of making it a close game, Geno Smith has to use his DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett well. He needs to be able to find them deep. He needs to find them early and often. Rashad Penny and Kenneth Walker, the rookie, they need to step up and be able to get some yards for the Seahawks. And it's gonna be tough if their run game isn't working.
Yeah. If you're a Seahawks fan, you hope it's competitive. You don't necessarily think you're going to win, but you hope it's competitive. You might have a glimmer of hope because, they know Russell Wilson. Like, how to intercept Russell Wilson because he's going to throw it. He's going to throw it on 4th and goal at the 2-yard line and get picked off in the Super Bowl. So you know exactly where he's throwing the ball. Whatever. But I've got the Broncos here.
I got the C. No, I'm just kidding. I got the Broncos here.
My players to watch: Russell Wilson with his new team. Established a connection early with Jerry Jeudy and Courtland Sutton. My second player to watch is actually Courtland Sutton over Jerry Jeudy. I don't think Jerry Jeudy is going to be the featured wide receiver in this. I think Courtland Sutton is, and I think Courtland Sutton is going to imitate Tyler Lockett, like he had in Seattle. And then number 3 is going to be the secondary. I don't necessarily need to see a lot of pressure on Geno Smith, but I need to see these corners locking down DK and Tyler Lockett. Granted, you would like to see a pass rush to stop Geno Smith, not even let him get the ball off, but most likely the secondary is going to have to step up, and because DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett are extremely hard to cover regardless of who's throwing them the football.
It's going to help that they have PS2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going Broncos here. That is the last game of Week 1.
Did you do your watch?
Oh, yeah. For the Broncos, I got Russell Wilson, new team. Ian basically said it for me. He's got his new connection, his new home. He's going back to home for the first time. You don't see that very much where someone goes to a new team and the first game they play is against a former team. You don't see that often. And there's probably going to be a lot of much for Russell Wilson. He needs to overcome them and put the beat down on them. And then second, I have Bradley Chubb. He needs to kind of step up his game because the Broncos' D line, is good. It's still good, but Bradley Chubb is the main focus of that D line, and he needs to be able to pass rush and be able to pressure Geno Smith into bad passes, and that's how they win this game. Last but not least is the secondary in PS2. They need to lock down DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and if they can, Geno Smith's gonna have a long day.
Yeah. So for me, for the Seahawks, I really need to see Rashad Penny step up and be the lead back. I need to see him get to the second level. I need to see him open up the lanes for the passing. So he's one that I really need to watch. Secondly, I'm going to go with Geno Smith. I mean, I don't think he's going to play very well, but he needs to try to keep this game competitive. Especially it's a home game in front of your home crowd against your former quarterback. You got to play decent. And you have 2 wide receivers. You have Noah Fant. You just have too many options to not play very well. Granted, their offensive line isn't the greatest, but that's a work in progress. And then thirdly,
they did get Charles Cross.
Yeah, Charles Cross, but I mean, he was kind of a stretch. Yeah. But the third is their defense needs to step up against Russell Wilson and step up and make him make some mistakes. Because the defense is what's going to win or lose them in this game. Their offense is not going to win them this game. Their defense is going to have to step up, cover, force incompletions, force interceptions, force fumbles. That's the way to win this game, is by their defense stepping up. Jamal Adams is going to have to step up, lead this team without Bobby Wagner on it. DK Metcalf's going to have to earn his contract this year, playing with subpar quarterback.
They don't have Griffin anymore because he retired.
Yeah, Griffin retired. So who's your 3 players to watch?
Tino, the running back.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I think that's pretty much it. We're going to go ahead and get our stuff set up so we can watch all the games. I wish you guys could see the setup.
The setup is nice here. We have like 2 laptops, a monitor, and a giant TV.
Yeah.
Ready to watch the Red Zone, Jags, Falcons, and whatever.
We got a laptop here, a second monitor here, and then the big screen for NFL Red Zone over there behind us. So, and I've also got another monitor if we need a fourth.
Oh my god.
And we have our phones too to put games on if we need to. Gonna try to watch as many games as possible. But thank you guys so much for watching. Remember, use code PIPodcast at SeatGeek for your first purchase. It'll save you $20. I appreciate SeatGeek for approving our ambassadorship. Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been week 1 coverage of the NFL 2022-2023 NFL season, and we'll be doing this a lot more. If you guys want the pregame coverage, we'll be doing this every Sunday, about 10:30, 11 o'clock. Next weekend might be a little different. Pradesh will go live if he can. But if not, week 3 will definitely be back. I'm just going out of town this upcoming week. But thank you guys so much for watching.
And we'll see you guys next week or Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday.
Peace.
Peace.
See you, Antonio. Thank you, Tim, Antonio. You know the deal. Uno, appreciate all you guys for stopping by.
Tim, Antonio,
Tyler.
There was somebody else.
Okay, you know the deal.
You know the deal.
Tony.
Okay, sweet.
Appreciate it. Enjoy the game, guys. Enjoy the Chiefs, Cardinals, Antonio.
Yeah, man.
That's a good fun game.
Take a lot of videos while you're out there.
Yeah. See you guys next time.
Thank you for watching the PI Podcast. Make sure you subscribe and tune in next time so you don't miss the latest news in the NFL world. You can also follow us on TikTok at PI Podcast and on Twitter at PI Podcasters. Until next time.